And then we have to wait probably like 2 minutes, I think.
On my phone's a PSD or the TV is about the next one. You know what I'm gonna do too? Is I'm gonna share the link to Jose in case we need to do like to share out the link, you know? He can have access.
If he just needs to go on, that honestly might even be the best person.
Because it's
You
gonna
could just
be
go there and
dynamic.
just share, because it's
Yeah.
this is probably gonna be changing while the meeting's going on.
Mhm. When the break is before this item, yeah.
The break is,
Okay, so maybe
that's
like,
the last item.
Yeah.
So we're going through everything and then. And when like, you can't sit on the table.
I had
Yeah,
to
yeah.
put a chair over there,
Yeah,
but
'cause
you
I
want
wanna
to.
watch YouTube.
Oh. Man, I
Los
should've
dos.
put it on.
Los dos, los voy a cuidar. Los quiero cuidar.
This is gonna be us.
Who's your-
Well, who says this?
I know.
Started dying.
It's like this, look at the, you can see it. It's dark, giving you the side eye.
It looks great, guys. On the stream's not working.
Not yet.
No, it is. It's working, but we're on YouTube now. So if you want to mute the room while we wait,
Got it.
Okay. Oh,
looks and sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
sweet.
Hi, Vanessa. It's Kat. Can you hear us? I think maybe she's connecting to the mic.
Could be.
Because it doesn't show the.
Go ahead and say something there
Good morning, Teresa. Can you hear us?
one more time.
Hello. Maxie, again. Is she in the waiting room?
No, not yet.
Morning, Justin. Hey, there.
Just letting you all know that when the meeting starts, the mics are hot, so I don't. We probably pull up a table if you need to, maybe in the back room. Or the other-
Oh, one of them.
Oh, you changed the camera.
Okay.
Yeah, that-
All right, is most everyone online?
Yeah,
Okay. So I live on. Gotcha.
yeah, we have.
They don't just
be
be very good today.
Really?
Yeah, Robinson won't be able to make it. So he's the only in person.
Intermittently.
Yeah.
Kinda, yeah.
Okay.
I think maybe she's reading Mr. Riley.
Do you have any desire for a table?
No, I'm gonna be here in a bit. I'm gonna go back and work
Oh,
and just look around.
I'm gonna just try to do my best to work from here.
It's hard with these laptops. They're so fluffy.
She's not on screen. The audio's, do you want it on?
Here, I'll take that.
What's your phone number?
619-884-2218. Asking you for my phone number. What?
Oh, thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Good morning.
You were almost at time, but good morning, Maria, Kat.
From Sacramento. We're holding up for Commissioner Ferguson to join in person and a few more, and then we'll get started to meet quorum.
Thank you, Kat, for the update.
It's the hot mic.
You can't breathe too heavy.
Kat, did you get a chance to test mics? I see Commissioner Valladolid here. Should we do some mic checks?
We can. Commissioners, if you can please unmute yourself and present your video, just so we can test it out.
Microphone check, microphone checker. Anybody? We good? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought that's what we were doing. So my fault.
You were just setting the standard, I see.
Testing.
I think I'm good.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, everyone. Trustee Dopplemore here.
Good morning. It's David Valladolid.
Hi, Commissioner Viley. So great to hear from you.
Hi. Thank you.
Deborah Maxey, can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, we can.
Hi, Commissioner Valladolid. I
Hi,
can see you
Daisy.
now.
Yeah, I know. I just figured it out. There was a little marker blocking off the picture.
Good morning, Commissioner Dopplemore. We can see you.
Does my background need to be flipped? No.
No,
It's correct? Okay, so it looks backwards to me. Got it. Cool. Thank you.
good morning, Commissioner
Good
Rodriguez,
morning.
Commissioner Cardosa.
Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
So we have now met quorum. Oh, Commissioner Ferguson just joined right now. Whenever you're ready, Chair Cifuentes, we can get started.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome everyone. Good morning. It's great to see you all here today. All right, everyone. Good morning and welcome. Thank you for being here today. We will go ahead and get started and hereby call together our California State Native Commission meeting to order. Today is Thursday, May 14th, 2026, and it is 10:02 a.m. Before we get started, we'll go ahead and I'll turn it over to Kat for our welcome and roll call.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to the May 14, 2026 California Student Aid Commission meeting. To access today's agenda, please visit our website at csac.ca.gov. Navigate to the About tab, select Commission from the left menu, and select Meeting Schedule Materials. From there, you will see the meeting agenda in blue. Members of the public may comment on specific agenda items or during the public forum. In-person attendees at 1102 Q Street, Sacramento, California, must complete a public comment card available at the board liaison table. Virtual attendees may use the raise hand feature on the Zoom platform. After each agenda item, individuals will be called to address the commission in the order requests received. We have 12 confirmed locations for today's meeting. We will begin with public comments at the Sacramento location and subsequently move to other locations in the virtual space, which will be called in alphabetical order. You will each have 2 minutes. A quick reminder that closed caption is available via the Zoom platform. To enable, click the CC icon at the bottom of the screen. This concludes my remark, and I will now begin roll call. Beginning with Chair Cifuentes,
Present.
Commissioner Cardosa,
Present.
Vice Chair Day,
Present.
Commissioner Dopplemore,
Present.
Commissioner Dow,
Present.
Commissioner Gary, Commissioner Haynes,
Present.
Secretary Maxey,
Present.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Present.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez,
Present.
Commissioner Saravia, Commissioner Valladolid,
Present.
and Commissioner Bang.
Present.
We have met quorum. I will now pass it back to Chair Cifuentes.
Okay, thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 2, the chair's oral report. Just great to see everyone. It's May. I know it's a busy time of year for everybody and getting ready for graduations and celebrations. And my own daughter is taking her 3rd AP test, 4th AP test tomorrow. So she has 4. Trying to get those college credits ahead of time before we get to one of your campuses. So it's a busy time for everybody. I'm grateful for today, not only to see everybody, but also to just give tons of love and health and healing to Commissioner Valladolid. It's to me, see your face on the screen just makes my day, and thank you for being here with us and making the time as always and commitment to students. So it's great to see you. We definitely have a lot of it on our agenda. I know Commissioner Day said, this doesn't look like a typical May agenda for us. Usually it's May revise and we're done, but we definitely have so much to different conversations to talk about and support with all the new funding and opportunities. Today I got a text from NCAN, National College Attainment Network, that there was a big report that was pushed out, and the report topic headline was better FAFSA, it worked. So FAFSA simplification paid off. And when you look at that report, FAFSA simplification paid off. The greatest contributor to the numbers of students submitting their financial aid application are from California. And that's not to say that's not the celebration of this room, of this board meeting, our commission, our CSAC team. We may not be number 1 in percent complete, but we're number 1 with number of students that apply. And that doesn't even count our California Dream applications. That's just financial aid applications. That doesn't happen by accident. So I think we start this morning with just gratitude to all of our partners, all of our higher ed institutions, all of everybody that came together as a state and continues, because we're ahead in numbers. I'm sure Dr. Gonzalez will cover that. We're ahead of numbers and where we're at, and it's not even June yet. And so that's the commitment we're making, that regardless of what we hear in the media and what we hear out there, that higher ed is still an opportunity for students. It's still something they want, and it's still something they're striving to achieve. I want to share just one quick story with the work. We're here as commissioners, but we're also still doing the work. We're also still with students and with community members. We had, an amazing direct admissions pilot with the California State University system here in Riverside County, and now it's going statewide. In that opportunity as being the pilot, we got to research the first class that did not show up, class of 2025. And we had just in 5 districts alone, over 1,200 students that got accepted, did their financial aid application, did other pieces, and didn't show up to any institution, not even community college, they didn't show up anywhere. So, crazy me, we're phone bank every single student. We're calling every single student that did not go because they did everything we asked them to. And it's like, what happened? What did we miss? And what I was afraid to find was, I don't want to go to college because it's not worth it, or it's too expensive, or it doesn't make sense. I can get a job, with another company without a college degree. We have called over 1,200 students, and I'm proud to say now one of them have said that. So we got to stop listening to that. That's not the issue of they don't want to go, they don't think it's valuable, they don't value higher ed. It's still our systems. It's still navigating our systems of why they didn't show up. It's still, they didn't understand that if they went to UC Riverside, we have Chancellor Haynes that was practically going to pay them to be a UCR student. He gives them so much financial aid. I said, you really did like a part-time job in financial aid. They didn't understand their award. They didn't understand those components that they weren't going to have to take a loan and they could commute and go with Chancellor Haynes and his campus. And so I say that as we celebrate the highest numbers, but also as the work continues, as we talk about some of May revise and some of the legislation coming down, streamlining our systems is so important. So I'm not a researcher. I'm open up to anyone who wants to come and help me study the data. But what I've put together from the 5 districts, we have called those students, the biggest is the systems, is connecting our systems together and simplifying processes for students because it's complicated when they don't understand it. So I do want to say, it's tremendous to see that data. It's tremendous to get that article, at 5 in the morning that says, it worked, all the advocacy in this room. You may never get to see all the faces, especially all of our government affairs leaders in the room, but I just want to say thank you. Thank you for your advocacy because it took everyone to push things like FAFSA simplification and all the work we're continuing to do here in California. So with that, I want to go ahead and turn it over to our executive director, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez. And I have to once again, thank you to her for her leadership and the entire CSAC team for their tremendous work. And thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Good morning, commissioners. It is indeed not a regular May revise agenda because you have been busy. The team has been busy. Of course, Commissioner Haynes, Commissioner Saravia know the work a little bit more closely, but you're finally voting on that IPA 9 months later since you instructed us to be able to transform that document, which impacts every single Cal Grant eligible institution and very soon every middle class scholarship institution. It was a partnership across segments, multiple revisions, and they can tell you a lot more closely what it took to get here. But 9 months later, here we are. We also have a number of different items that are also not traditionally in this agenda. And then, of course, the May revise, for those of you who are tracking it closely, has not been released. The press conference will be starting very soon. And so I'm grateful that you're here. That will be our last item. And it's because of that, because it has not been released, but a really important day for us here in California, certainly in Sacramento, and for the California Student Aid Commission and our students. I thought it would be faster if I shared photos because I have been on the road. I think I miss my pets. My husband misses seeing me, but it has been incredibly rewarding to just be able to be out in the field. The first thing I want to acknowledge is what Chair Cifuentes mentioned. The class of 2026 just set a whole new record. We said this was going to be our comeback year, and they have made it happen. This year for financial aid applications, and certainly by our priority deadline, has already surpassed prior years in the state of California. We are now at 69% of high school seniors completing a financial aid application. That hasn't happened. So now as we lean in, we're headed full in onto our September 2nd deadline. What does that mean? It also means that every single employee, I know Jose, Kat, most of the team that right now you're seeing on the screen, They have all been stuffing envelopes. There are 170,000 high school students that we still need to reach. And I was talking to the team yesterday and I said, we all have to stuff envelopes, even if it's 25 envelopes. We got to get those out before folks graduate and certainly before the end of the month. But I want to make sure that I acknowledge the team because it's been a team effort at the agency. We have one single machine at the agency. I just want to mention this because I've seen it. The team has told me about it. One machine, it works very slowly in terms of being able to stuff envelopes. And on average, it can do between 30 to 40,000 envelopes in a single day, but it's very slow. It's been breaking down. And it's the reason why we kind of had to have all hands on deck this week and just say, hey, can folks stop by and just stuff a couple of envelopes so we can get these letters out. The letter is actually a letter that has been endorsed and signed by Chancellor Christian and the California Community Colleges. It's reminding high school seniors that it is not too late, that they can still apply for financial aid and that they have until September 2nd. So a big shout out to the community colleges for their support in making sure that we can continue to encourage students to apply for financial aid. I also wanted to highlight the screen in front of you, and that is that we have officially published our very first CSAC Blueprint report. I'm hoping many of you received it in the mail. If not, it's on the way. I want to make sure that I thank Nikki, all of the executives, certainly Commissioner Rodriguez, you impacted the way that we wrote about it. Looks a little bit different since our slide deck, but I also want to make sure that I thank Jason and the team that made sure that we could get this in May. This is going to be a critical May revise advocacy tool for us, and certainly as we head into next year. If you haven't received it, I'm sure it's on its way. And I also want to just pause and acknowledge that we have a new deputy director, Tiffany Argento, who is there on the 3rd floor with Commissioner Ferguson. It is her first meeting with us, and she is leading a very critical area for us at the California Student Aid Commission. And she was also a part of this, just being able to print and to move forward with this. So thank you, Tiffany. Next slide, please. We also were able to launch since our last meeting our CEO Advisory Council. One of the most pivotal things that we can and should be doing is now preparing for 27-28. And that is because our agency works in 3 different fiscal years all at the same time. So I have been preparing. This is one of the goals and commitments that I made to you, that we would think about our research and our partnership and our advocacy in a very different way. We seek to launch a CEO Advisory Council to bring together CEOs who are already thinking about the innovations that could happen in college affordability, but could also inform our financial aid design and co-design solutions with us. That first meeting took place in April, and our current chair is Dr. Keith Curry. It'll rotate. This is only a 2-year council. So it is our very first CEO Advisory Council for CSAC. We're testing it out, but it is a space to consult, to inform, and to co-design solutions. Our first meeting in person will be at Northridge, so CSUN, Commissioner Saravia's home base, and we are all going to be meeting there right after your retreat, because I would like to come out of our joint retreat with very clear goals and then say, okay, this is where we are seeing the urgency for California students. How can we all get there as leaders in our state? So big thank you to all the colleagues that you see on this slide. Really grateful. Our very first meeting, I can tell you, was completely collegial, and all the segments faced similar challenges, particularly with college affordability and equal solutions, whether it's a process, a structure, or even the reality that they are seeing on the ground, which just simply doesn't match our offerings. And so I see a lot of opportunity here in working with these leaders. Next slide, please. We also had a really exciting on-the-ground adventure. Commissioner Doppelmoore was able to show us her campus, Compton College, in person. The team and I traveled there. We're really grateful to have Chair Cifuentes join us to award our Marmaduke High School Counselor of the Year. And she will be joining us during our retreat at Cal State LA. But we showed up and completely surprised her at her high school. And it was decision day. All the students were deciding and we're going to share their banners of where they were going to go to college. And we were able to completely surprise her. She thought that it was just a regular day. And she walked in and she was the best counselor in the state of California. So congratulations to Janet Conchas. My favorite part was just meeting her students and hearing the impact that she has made in their lives. And I can just tell you personally, we did interviews this year. It was the first time that we made every single nominee. I think we did 7 interviews. She stood out. And one of my favorite things that she shared with us is I serve at Manuel Dominguez High School, which is in Compton Unified School District, because this is my hometown. This is what I love. I don't need resources. I don't need the perfect structures. I'm going to do what I need to do for my students, while I then work to bring along all my colleagues, my district, and all the leaders along the way. And for me, that's what stood out. There were many, many other things that stood out, but Jeanette was absolutely a really humble servant for her students. And we wouldn't be here without the Evelyn and Walter Haas Jr. Fund. I'm really excited that she's going to do a little bit more work with us, encouraging counselors, really leaning in on the professional development and joining us during our retreat, because these are the folks on the ground that are really making a difference. And we should be able to connect with them and listen to their expertise. So congratulations, Jeanette. And to the team, I just want to share, it took a whole tiny little group of CSAC colleagues, Suzanne and Jason and Kat and Maria, everyone working together, Nikki, Catalina, Justin, Jason, just so that we could get there. And so I'm really grateful to the CSAC team. And then I just have 2 more slides, and I wish Commissioner Saravia was trying to speak slowly so she could get here, but Commissioner Saravia will be graduating this year. And she joined us for a phenomenal, we call it like the takeover webinar, where the students take over our webinar and they speak truth to power. She was a moderator this year. Many of the students that are in our Student Advisory Council, who you see on this screen, who are also graduating this year, joined her during that webinar. But Commissioner Saravia, if she shows up and when she shows up, I hope that at the end we get to celebrate her. She'll continue to serve at the request of the governor's office, but she is completing this year. She is looking for a job. So if any of you have ideas, we congratulate her, we share opportunities, and I know she's really interested in teaching and the law. And congratulations to the class of 2026. And then my last slide is this one. I know that another tiny mini team has been supporting our commissioners. Really grateful and excited to see the confirmation for Commissioner Haynes, Commissioner Ferguson. They were confirmed on a consent agenda this week. And so congratulations. It's great to have you on board and to have sustainability until 2029 and until you get reconfirmed all over again. Thank you for serving California. Thank you for serving California students. With that, Chair Cifuentes, I will hand it back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez. Do we have any questions for Daisy about her updates? Comments? Okay, I wanted to just add on Commissioner Doppelmoore and I had got to go to the Compton party. And it was their decision day. So that's how they surprised her, because they normally do that for all their students. And I love that they're really supportive of all post-secondary plans. That's what they call it, decision day, because they had some students go into the military and other avenues. But she was so CSAC because her husband was a DJ. Like, it was like a family affair too. Like, she did not know we were coming. The husband's the DJ. Everyone has to come work. And so her extended family came and she's like, I knew something was up when I walked in and I saw them. So it was just awesome to be there and see all the students. And they just shout out to Compton Unified School District. They just they had food trucks and it was just a big celebration for their students. And they've just done tremendous overnight changes. And they're from a district that had like a 50% graduation rate to like that high school has 98% graduation rate. Over 80% college and career indicator prepared. I mean, just overnight opportunities for these students. They've been working hard over there. Okay. Anything else to add before we go ahead and move on to our next item?
Yes, Fuentes, this is Commissioner Doppelmoore. Again, I'm just excited and I'm looking forward to the continued collaboration with Jeanette and just hearing how we can implement what she's doing at the Compton Unified School District to all of the other school districts that we have, because those numbers, what you just mentioned, they're remarkable. And not just to reinvent the wheel, but just kind of take some of the best practices and spread them throughout not just our districts, but our entire state. So again, congratulations, Ms. Jeanette, and looking forward to the continued collaboration. Thank you.
Sure. I think one of the biggest things of why they're able to get that high college and career indicator, and that's it's a K-12 accountability metric for us in K-12 of how many students not just graduate high school, but graduate college and career ready. And there's different indicators. Is there strong partnership with Compton College? And I know that the amount of dual enrollment and concurrent enrollment and all that Dr. Curry and his team offers to them has really helped them. So no pressure, community colleges out there, but announcement, that's at the K-12, the partnership is like this, and that's really helped them get those high numbers as well. So just shout out to Compton College as well. Okay, all right, at this time, commissioners, we'll go ahead and move on to our next item. Item number 4 is our
Hi, Chair Cifuentes. I would love to
Please.
interrupt for a second to just request public comment for both the chair's report and the executive director report, if that's okay.
Perfect. No, that's fine. We'll go ahead and do if there's any public comment.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. First, I'd like to reflect on the record that Commissioner Gary joined us at 10:04 a.m. and Commissioner Saravia joined us at 10:19 a.m. Moving on to public comment for item 2 and 3 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will each have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now to all virtual attendees. We have 0 public comments. I will pass it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 4, our consent calendar. And at this time, I'll turn over to our Deputy Director, Catalina Missler, to present our consent calendar.
Good morning, Commissioners. So under the consent calendar, we have 3 items. The first item is consideration to approve the March 4th, 2026 minutes for the commission meeting. The second item is consideration to approve the March 5th, 2026 minutes for the commission meeting. And then the third item is a ratification of an emergency contract and approval of the contract over $250,000. So if we can move forward, are there any of these items that we need to discuss further?
Do you have any questions from our commission?
Chair, I just wanted to ask, like, for the meeting, if we would like to, with a motion to approve the consent, will we take each individual item in there separately or just approve it all at once? Would that be the motion?
The motion would be
all at once.
Will we take each? I'm sorry, go ahead, Council.
It would be one motion to approve all the items on consent.
Okay, yeah, so I would, thank you. I would like to, this is Commissioner Dopplemore, I would like to make a motion to approve the 3 items that are outlined underneath the consent agenda.
Thank you so much, Commissioner
Item
Dopplemore.
4, and I believe that that's item 4.
Okay, Commissioner Gary?
My only question is, I did not attend the March 4th meeting, so I wouldn't feel comfortable affirming those meeting minutes, but I did attend the March 5th meeting. So if we clump them together, how would I differentiate that?
I'll let
You can
our general
simply
counsel.
abstain.
Just abstain from the total motion?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Other questions from commissioners? Seeing and hearing none. At this time, I'll go ahead and see if we have any public comment for this item. Kat, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. For public comment, item number 4, consent calendar, is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in the downtown Sacramento location. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now all virtual attendees. Please unmute yourself. We have 0 public comments. I will hand it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kat. So at this time, we do have a motion to approve our consent calendar as presented. Do we have a second?
This is Commissioner Maxey. I second it.
Okay, I see Commissioner Maxey and I saw Commissioner Valdelir. So at this time, we have no public comment. We'll go ahead and move to a roll call.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Beginning with Chair Cifuentes.
Aye.
Commissioner Cardosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Dopplemore.
Aye.
Could you repeat that one more time?
Aye for Commissioner Dopplemore.
Thank you. Commissioner Dow,
Abstain.
Commissioner Gary,
Abstain.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez,
Abstain.
Commissioner Saravia,
Aye.
Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vang.
Aye.
It has passed. I will now turn it back to the chair.
All right, thank you so much. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 5, ratification and approval of new contracts over $250,000. Commissioners, this is an action item, and we'll continue to hear from our Chief Deputy Executive Director, Catalina Missler, as well.
Again, good morning, Commissioners. This item presents 3 contracts, 2 of which are information technology services contracts, and 1 which is an interagency agreement with the State Controller's Office. These contracts are over the $250,000 amount. So pursuant to California Education Code, Section 69513.1, the Commission may delegate authority to the Executive Director to enter into and execute contracts with third-party vendors on its behalf. And under the current CSAC governance policies and procedures, the Executive Director is authorized to approve contracts not to exceed $250,000. For any proposed contracts exceeding this threshold, the Executive Director is required to obtain approval from the Commission. The first contract is a proposed new contract over $250,000 is with Smartech AI Solon. It's for the $498,432. It's a state administrative IT consulting services contract. The funding source is out of the fiscal year 2025-26, and the term is from June 22nd, 2026 through June 21st, 2028. This contract is for the contractor to provide ongoing enhancements to our web grant system. And we have listed all of the enhancements and the programs related to the services that will be provided, the deliverables. Contract number 2 is S25149 with Seller Systems Incorporated for the amount of $498,432. It also is a state administrative IT consulting services contract. The funding source is out of this current 25-26 fiscal year, and the terms are from May 17th, 2026 through May 18th, 2028. Again, the services provided and the deliverables are listed here, which includes continued enhancements to our Cal Kids, our web grants reports, and continued work with our dashboards. And then the third contract is a proposed new contract over 250,000. A contract number DRT 698025. The vendor is the State Controller's Office. The amount is 743,000. Fiscal year is continuous. The term is January 1, 2026 to December 30th, 2030. This is not a contract that we are expending funds. This is a contract under the California State Payroll Systems Project. It is a reimbursement to the commission. And so as the State Controller's Office continues to modernize their system under this agreement, CSAC will provide all of the deliverables listed as part of its participation in the SEO DART program. So this is a reimbursement from the State Controller's Office for our participation and our work that will be contributing to the upgrading of the system. Those are the three contracts that we are asking for approval. Any questions?
Questions from commissioners? Can you raise your hand or unmute yourself? Okay, all right. Before we entertain a motion, we'll go ahead and go to public comment.
Thank you, Chair Fuentes. Public comment item for number 5 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature, and we'll start with the in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, and then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. We'll have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 in-person public comments from the downtown Sacramento location. We'll move on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Rucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Ed, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco. Now all virtual attendees, please unmute yourself. We have 0 virtual public comments. I will now hand it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So at this time, we will need a motion, commissioners, to approve item number 5, the ratification and approval of new contracts.
I'll second.
All right, so I have a motion by Commissioner Valladolid and I have a second by Commissioner Doppelmoore. All right, Kat, I'll turn it over to you for roll call.
Thank you. Beginning with Chair Fuentes,
Yes.
Commissioner Carlosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Doppelmoore,
Okay.
Commissioner Dow,
Aye.
Commissioner Gary,
Aye.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saravia,
Aye.
Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Ray.
Aye.
It has passed. I will now turn it back to the chair.
Thank you so much. This motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. And we'll move on to item number 6. Consideration to approve the 2026 to 2030 institutional participation agreement, our IPA, and I will turn it over to Tay Hank, our program administration and services division leader. Oh, and Alessandra as well, Morrison, our associate deputy director from CSAC.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, commissioners. We are excited to present to you the 2026-30 institutional participation agreement. At the March 2026 commission meeting, I presented this as an informational item, which highlighted just the amount of work that went into the amendments and revisions and board group members. Once again, thank you to Commissioner Green, Commissioner Saravia for your contribution and for taking time out of your day to participate in the board group. Your contributions were immense and were significant and really helped us shape IPA to the lead today. Today, we present to you again an action items so that commissioners can approve or deny go back and make additional amendments. But we really hope that we can present to you an IPA that has gone through the deliberation process and it's in its final state. We seek your approval on the IPA. So with that, I'm gonna have our Associate Admin Director, Alessandro Morrison, present to you and just go through and refresh some of the items that were included in
Thank you, Tay. Good morning, everyone. So yes, as presented during the March 5th commission meeting, the Institutional Participation Agreement, or IPA for short, is the binding contract between SAC and participating institutions covering the main administrative, fiscal, and information security requirements for both parties. And if approved, the 2026-2030 IPA will be the contract between CSAC and institutions participating in the Calgary and the middle class college programs over the next 4 months. Next slide, please. As you may recall, prior to the enactment of Senate Bill number 8, the IPA only covered the Calgary program. However, the bill amended Health and Education Code to specifically require that MPS participating institutions sign an agreement with CSAC, acknowledging their willingness to administer the middle class scholarship program. And as stipulated in statute, CSAC staff worked in collaboration with school segment representatives who ultimately agreed to have a combined IPA for the Calgary and the MCS programs. Next slide. Here are the different steps we took in the review process and engagement with key stakeholders that ultimately shaped our final version of the 2020-2030 IPA, which ensures alignment with the CSAC Student Success Blueprint by ensuring that this contract operates through a student-centered plan. Next slide, please. And here is a snapshot of the different sections of the 2026-2030 IPA. The introduction is a brand new section in the IPA that outlines a joint commitment from CSAC and participating institutions operate with the best interest of students in mind. With this new IPA, we are committing to removing barriers that might otherwise prevent students from accessing, persisting in, and completing their education by providing students with accessible, easy to understand information on financial aid applications, awards, and other key processes such as the financial aid appeals process. Articles 1 through 8 cover the core administrative, fiscal, and information security requirements to administer both the CAGRAN and, if applicable, the MCS program. Key updates to ensure alignment with our student-centered approach include ensuring institutions are meeting statutory requirements related to student safety, added clarity on timely notifications of institutional changes that could impact the terms of this agreement, timely reporting of fraudulent activity, and earlier reconciliation of program funds. And finally, we have two different addendums that cover administrative functions that are specific to each of the programs. Next. And with that, our staff recommendation is to approve the 2026-2030 IPA in order to strengthen administrative accountability and enhance the overall financial experience. That concludes our presentation, and we're happy to answer any questions.
Thank you so much, Alessandra and Tay. Do we have questions from our commissioners? Raise your hands or unmute yourself. Okay, please, we'll go ahead and from Commissioner Day or Commissioner Dow.
Thanks so much for the good work in socializing this. Can you provide just any overview of the feedback that the commission might be interested in hearing about the changes?
The feedback from our stakeholders was collaborative. As we showed on that one particular slide, we did work specifically with a work group, which Commissioner Haynes and Commissioner Sarabia joined us. After we finalized the language, we did also go out for public comments. It was a deliberative process. There were some concessions that were made in the administration of the CAPI program, the middle-class scholarship program. But in those discussions, there was compromise that we made both from student commission and the segment partners and our work group members. Much of the feedback that we received from our institutions was somewhat campus or segment specific. As you could imagine, administrative processes and financial aid administration varies from campus to campus and segment to segment. And what we had to do was think about how students are being served at a variety of different campuses across all the different segments. So a lot of the discussion back and forth was, how can we make these amendments that would be serving students across all the different campuses that we exist. Does that answer your question, Commissioner Day?
I believe it does, and I appreciate it. Just FYI, your microphone's a little fuzzy.
Okay.
Maybe if you can get closer to it, and you may not be able to do anything about it. So listen, we all get it, but just FYI. But thank you very much for the response.
Thank you, Commissioner Day.
Other questions please, Commissioner Rodriguez.
Yeah, I echo the thanks to the staff and glad that this was really supported by the field. Just a quick question about how the students moving forward will experience maybe new services or better services. What would that look like moving forward for them?
Yeah, most of the changes in the new IPA, it centers around the services and the delivery of financial aid for Cal Grant and middle-class scholarship. And as the chair had mentioned in her opening comments, just that students are not able to persist or navigate or even enroll because of the systems. And so what we hope to do through the IPA is that remove those barriers and obstacles that exist within our systems. Something from when students should expect to receive their Cal Grant at the start of the term, what requirements they would have to do to submit an appeal if they have additional extenuating circumstances that is not covered through their normal cost of attendance or unmet need of financial aid. And then just transparency around if you were to withdraw from campus, this is what may happen to your financial aid, this is the expectations in terms of refunds. So a lot of the language is centered around the student perspective, making sure that as they navigate through the financial aid process for both Cal Grant and middle-class scholarship, there is transparency and there's understanding that this is what should happen and what will happen. And so we incorporated a lot of that language into the IPA, which is expectations and responsibility both for the institution and the student commission.
Thank you.
Tiffany, Commissioner Maxey.
Yes, I too would like to say thank you very much for this. More on a personal note, my eldest grandson will be entering the CSU system in the fall. And I have been the main person to kind of walk him through this after his mother and father understood that I knew more than they did about this. I had them back away and I kind of took over. So he and I, my grandson and I, have been really working through all of this as far as understanding what he is going to have to be doing as a student, understanding his campus. He'll be going to Fullerton after a lot of back and forth on where he wanted to go. Wanted to go away from San Diego, but not far, far away. And I wanted him away from all of us, the whole family, so that he could make his own mistakes and learn and all. So he's excited. We visited the campus, and of course, we definitely found where the financial aid center was and what the questions that he needs to be asking. And so he and I have another date this weekend where we're going to go over a few more things on him keeping up with emails, all those things that counselors try to tell students. And it's really having conversation because I'm not only guiding him, but he has now pulled in some of his buddies to say, hey, my grandmother knows a little bit about this. I'm like, yeah, okay, a little bit, but whatever. And so they're listening to what they should be doing too. But having this simplified and really helping our students on these various campuses is really a plus. And I'll be keeping an eye on how all of this unfolds from the student perspective and also from what we as the adults are giving to our families throughout the state on helping them navigate these systems that can be overwhelming for many, many people trying to get an additional education and move forward. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxey, and congratulations to you and your grandson.
Congratulations. He's gonna live Kelsey Fullerton. It's a gorgeous campus. Okay, all right.
It is.
All right, let's go ahead. Any other questions from our commissioners? Oh, please, Commissioner Dow.
Good morning again. Thank you for all of the work that went into this. I know this has been months in the making, and I also want to just express my gratitude to our executive director and the team for leading all of this incredible effort. I was just wondering if there is an opportunity to leverage the IPA to move toward one of our goals we had last year around streamlining the award letters for students. I just keep hearing, our chair's voice around saying it's the systems that are creating barriers for students, not their desire to go. And I just wonder if there is a way to leverage this new IPA in a way that we can nudge folks to say, can we get onto this more streamlined application or streamlined award letter rather, so students can compare offers in an apples to apples way.
Commissioner Dow, thank you for bringing that up. Yeah, I do remember there was a bill last year that was introduced to have a universal financial aid award letter so that there would be common language across all segments so that students and families could have an opportunity to do that comparison. Within the context of the IPA, we do have some language in there, but it's only applies to our Cal Grant program and on the class scholarship program. So as a condition of participating in the Cal Grant and the class scholarship program, we do have language in there that does discuss using universal and common language across the participating institutions. Unfortunately, that does not go across all the different financial aid programs at the federal level and institutional level. And it doesn't, only the UCs, CSUs, and the bachelor's degree granting institution at the community college participating in the class scholarship. So it's limited to those particular programs and participating institutions.
Okay. Other questions from our commissioners? Okay, at this time, we'll turn it over to Kat for public comment on this item before I ask for a motion to approve.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Public comment for item 6 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with the in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. We'll move on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University Northridge, California State University Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco. Now all virtual attendees, please unmute yourself. We have 0 public comments. I will now hand it back to the chair.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Ken. At this time, if I can get a motion, commissioners, to approve our IPA item number 6 consideration.
So moved.
Thank you, Cardosa, and I got a second from Commissioner Valladolid, and we'll go ahead and move to a roll call vote.
Begin with Chair Cifuentes,
Aye.
Commissioner Cardosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Dopplemore, Commissioner Dopplemore. May I get a verbal confirmation?
She has her thumb up.
Here's her thumbs up. She's saying yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Dopplemore is aye.
Thank you. All right, Commissioner Dow,
Aye.
Commissioner Gary,
Aye.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez,
Aye.
Commissioner Saravia,
Aye.
Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vang.
Aye.
Motion has passed. I will turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, commissioners. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 7, consideration to approve an extension of emergency regulations for the reporting of program data and adopt permanent regulations. This is also an action item. So I will turn it over to Ryan Fuller, our Dr. Ryan Fuller, our research data specialist, and Ana Manuel, our assistant general counsel.
Great, thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Good morning, commissioners. Next slide. As you may recall, on December 4th, 2025, the Commission approved emergency regulations for the Cal Grant program reporting of program data, which became effective December 29th, 2025. Notably, Commission staff have not received any public comments or reports of program or data challenges arising from the requirements following this year's March 31st data reporting deadline. These regulations approve the data reporting partnership between the Commission and higher education segments, clarify how program and data collection should be processed and administered. The regulations also facilitate timely transfer of student data from the segments to the Commission for analysis of student enrollment, graduation, persistence, higher education, in higher education, which will improve the state's understanding of student graduation outcomes and address student equity gaps across California. Next slide. Under today's item, we recommend that the Commission authorize staff to request 2 90-day extensions for the reporting of program data emergency regulations and to approve amended permanent regulations for the reporting of program data and authorize the staff to complete the regulatory process. 2 90-day extensions are necessary for staff to develop required documents and take the next necessary steps required by the rulemaking process under California law. Importantly, no new language is being introduced since the Commission first approved these emergency regulations during the December 4th, 2025 Commission meeting. Next slide. As we shared at the December 4th, 2025 Commission meeting, Senate Bill 70 was chaptered in the California law amending Education Code 69433.2 on March 24th, 2011, and on June 27th, 2025, AB 123 amended this code section. AB 123 requires institutions or system-wide central offices of public post-secondary education institutions acting on behalf of participating institutions to annually report to the Commission no later than March 31st enrollment, persistence, and graduation data for all full-time undergraduate students with limited exceptions for the academic year ending preceding July 30th. Next, Anna Manuel will take you through the regulatory process with the Office of Administrative Law.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Fuller, and good morning, commissioners. So Education Code section, thank you. Education Code section 69433.7 authorizes the commission to adopt regulations to administer the Cal Grant program. So after the commission approved emergency regs for the reporting of program data and authorized staff to complete the emergency regulatory process at the December 4th, 2025 commission meeting, the Office of Administrative Law, or OAL, subsequently approved the emergency rulemaking package. So emergency regs were formally endorsed by the Secretary of State and became effective on December 29th, 2025. Pursuant to state law, emergency regs are effective for 180 days with the option to seek 2 90-day extensions beyond that. So staff are requesting authorization by the commission to seek these 2 90-day extensions so that the emergency regs can remain in effect while staff completes the permanent regs process. As such, in addition to these extensions, staff are seeking approval to pursue the regulatory process to amend the permanent regs, the language of which, as Dr. Fuller mentioned, will remain identical to the previously approved reporting of program data emergency regulations. So the permanent regulations package, which includes proposed text, initial statement of reasons, the Form STD 399 fiscal impact statement, and the notice of proposed regulatory action will be made available for a 45-day public review and comment period through the OAL's California Regulatory Notice Register, as well as on the Commission's website. And after the 45-day public comment period, the Commission may decide to amend its initial proposal, either in response to public comments received or on its own initiative. And depending on whether the change is non-substantive or substantive, an additional comment period of either 15 days or 45 days respectively would be required. The Commission must also respond to any comments received. So once the complete rulemaking file is submitted, then OAL has 30 working days to conduct its review and file the reg with the Secretary of State, at which point the regulation would become effective. Next slide, please. So just to review, staff recommend the Commission authorize staff to request the 2 90-day extensions of the Cal Grant program reporting of program data emergency regs, and to approve the proposed amended permanent regs for the reporting of program data, and to authorize staff to complete the regulatory process, which includes the 45-day public comment period, preparing all the required documents to OAL, and to make any non-substantive changes to the regs and supporting documentation if it's requested by OAL. Next slide, please. And that's all. Thank you, Dr. Fuller, and I are here to answer any questions about the regulations or the data reporting requirements. Thank you.
Thank you so much. At this time, do we have questions from our commissioners? Okay.
Here's Fuentes. I'm sorry, I couldn't find my raised hand. This is Commissioner Doppel. I have a question, just a point of clarification. Ms. Anna, so outside of the 40-day public comment requirement, does this require a separate hearing, or is that considered the time frame where the public is allowed to make comments? So just to clarify, so outside of the 45 days period for public comment, does this require an additional hearing that would be placed on the agenda for like a full meeting?
For additional
Yes.
For additional commissioner approval, no. This would be it. Yeah.
So the 45 days is considered the period for the public to make comment on this item.
Correct. The only reason we would have to re-agendize this is if the changes based on comments or our own initiative were so substantive that they needed to be represented. But currently, that doesn't typically happen, and we're pretty well aware of what people had to weigh in on for this one. We haven't received any comments or issues since this law has gone into effect. The institutions haven't had any issues with it, so we don't anticipate any substantive changes, but that would be the only reason that we would have to bring it back to the commission.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Commissioner Gary, and then our Executive Director, Dr. Gonzalez.
Yeah, I'm just asking a point of clarification. So we're voting on approving two 90-day extensions. What I wanted to know was, are you going to ask for the two 90-day extensions up front? So we're actually approving a 180-day extension, or are we approving you the ability to ask for two 90-day extensions one at a time? So first 90-day extension, when that expires, then being able to request an additional 90-day extension. I wasn't clear from the presentation.
It would be two separate 90-day extensions. So
Okay.
instead of us coming to you again, we actually won't have the
Yes.
opportunity to come to you again, likely. So just approving it now instead of in another 90 days.
Gotcha. Understood. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great question. Thank you. Additional questions from our commissioners? Okay, at this time, before we ask for a motion to approve, I'm going to go ahead and turn over to Kat to do our public comment.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Public comment for item number 7 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street Sacramento location, and then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now all virtual attendees. Please unmute yourself. With that, we have 0 public comments, and I'll hand it back to the chair. Thank you.
Right. Thank you so much. At this time, we'll go ahead and ask for a motion to approve item number 7. So I got Commissioner Valadez has asked for a motion. And do I have a second from commissioners?
Commissioner Maxey will second it.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Maxey. We have a second from Commissioner Maxey, and at this time, I'll turn it over to Kat for a roll call vote.
Thank you. Beginning with Chair Cifuentes,
Aye.
Commissioner Cardosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Dopplemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dow,
Aye.
Commissioner Gary,
Aye.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Saravia,
Aye.
Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Bain.
Aye.
Motion has passed. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, we'll go ahead and move on to item number 8. This is consideration of institutional appeals for our 2026-2027 Cal Grant participation. We will go ahead and continue with, go back to Tay Kang, our Program Administration and Services Division, as well as Alessandra Morrison and Anna Manuel, our Assistant General Counsel.
Good morning, Commissioners. This item presents 2 institutional appeals requesting Cal Grant participation for the academic year 2026-27. Both appeals were submitted pursuant to California Education Code Section 69432.7, which authorizes the commission to approve an appeal when an institution's cohort consists of 20 students or fewer, and the cohort is not representative of the student's institution's overall performance. Today, we will briefly summarize each institution's appeal, including the cohort size, supporting documentation provided, and how each request aligns with the statutory criteria. Next slide. Oh, I'm sorry, prior slide. To provide context for today's item, I'd like to first briefly review the statutory participation standards used to determine institutional eligibility for the Cal Grad program. To participate in the program, an institution must meet the applicable federal student lending and student outcome thresholds. Specifically, an institution must maintain a federal student loan borrow rate 40% or less for undergraduate students. Institutions exceeding this 40% threshold must instead demonstrate both a 3-year cohort default rate below 15.5% and a graduation rate above 30%. Each year, by November 1st, the California Student Aid Commission is required to certify an institution's most recent official 3-year cohort default rate and graduation rate, as reported by the U.S. Department of Education. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 123, the Student Aid Commission is required to use the official 3-year cohort default rates certified in 2020 rather than the subsequently released 2022 rates when determining institutional eligibility for participation in the 2016-17 year. Consistent with this requirement, no institution submitted cohort default rate appeal based upon consideration for this year. For purposes of determining graduation rate, it is defined as the percentage of full-time, first-time degree, or certificate-seeking undergraduate students completing their program within 150% of expected time to completion, or 6 years for a 4-year institution. Based on the most recent publicly reported data by the U.S. Department of Education, including preliminary data reports. So every year, Student Aid Commission, we certify pulling the data through the U.S. Department of Education data repository known as IPEDS, and we use this data to certify cohort default rates and graduation rates for all the Cal Grad participating institutions. Next slide. At its January 2021 meeting, the Commission adopted regulations establishing an appeal process for otherwise eligible institutions that did not meet the statutory 3-year cohort default rate or graduation rate thresholds. These regulations became effective on January 1st, 2022, and assigned staff responsibility for verifying whether an institution's cohort includes 20 or fewer students. Staff have reviewed both appeals for the institutions that have submitted appeals and confirmed that each institution's cohort size meets this criteria, making both institutions eligible to pursue an appeal for commission consideration. Next slide. Los Angeles Pacific University submitted an appeal to the Commission on February 18, 2026, requesting Cal Grad participation for the academic year 2027 after the U.S. Department of Education reported a 21% graduation rate for full-time, first-time degree-seeking cohort, which is below the required 50% threshold. The reported cohort included 19 students, representing approximately 2% of the institution's student population, and did not include transfer students. The institution reported an overall graduation rate of 35.8% across 897 graduate students, indicating that the cohort rate may not be representative of the institution's overall student outcomes. Nearly 98% of the 897 school students represented transfer or part-time students. Our recommendation, the staff recommendation, is to approve the appeal based upon the small cohort size and the determination that the cohort graduation rate is not representative of the institution's overall graduation numbers. Next slide. Chamberlain University submitted an appeal on April 9, 2026 on behalf of its California locations in Irwindale and Sacramento, California, requesting Cal Grant participation for the academic year 2026-27 after the U.S. Department of Education reported a 0% graduation rate for the combined California full-time first-time cohort below the required 30% threshold. The IPEDS data indicate that the cohort consisted of one student representing less than 1% of the institution's student population. That student ultimately transferred out after 2 semesters, resulting in the reported 0% graduation rate. The institution reported a 96% graduation rate for its broader undergraduate population of 67 students, and noted that the most undergraduate students are transfer students who are not captured within the first-time full-time cohort methodology. The staff recommendation is to approve the appeal based on the extremely small cohort size and the determination that the cohort rate does not reflect the institution's overall student outcomes. Next slide. In closing, CSAC staff recommends approval of the 26-27 Cal Grant participation appeals for Los Angeles Pacific University and Chamberlain University because each institution's cohort includes fewer than 20 students and the reported cohort graduation is not representative of the institution's overall graduation rate performance consistent with Education Code Section 6943267. I have members of both universities on the Zoom call with us today, including campus presidents from Los Angeles Pacific Union, President Jay Goen, and the Chamberlain University President Renee Clymer-Engelhardt. If you have questions for staff or questions for each of the universities, we are here to respond to any questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Tay. At this time, I will turn it over to commissioners, and I want to just make sure you heard that both campuses are here with us in person or virtually. So if you have questions that are campus specific, they're here to address any of your questions. And I'd like to open up, actually, if any of the 2 campuses would like to share a few words, we'd love to give you that opportunity.
Yes, I'd love to be able to address, and thank you, and good morning to everyone. Appreciate the ability to speak today. So thank you to the chair and members. I am Jay Goen, president of Los Angeles Pacific, and I'm actually joined today by Dr. Andrew Sheen, who's our chief academic officer. We're very grateful for the staff recommendation to approve our repeal. And I would just say, Los Angeles Pacific exists to serve non-traditional and adult learners, that's working professionals and parents. Average age, as noted in the notes, we're 32 years of age, and our whole model is built around flexibility and high-touch support for those who are balancing life and work and family responsibilities. That first time full-time cohort for us is a very small, as you saw, 2%, but a really valued group of students. And if we were unable to participate in Cal Grant, it would negatively affect our mission of providing affordable, faith-integrated pathways for those adult learners. So we appreciate your consideration, and we ask that the appeal is granted, so our students can continue to receive the financial aid they need to reach the finish line. So thank you.
Thank you so much. Anyone from Chamberlain University? Well, it's hard on Zoom, we're not in person, but in one location.
Hi, good morning. Thank you guys so much for having this. I would like to echo the first-time full-time grad rate issue and the population that it reflects for Chamberlain, but I would also like to express just appreciation for considering our appeal for reinstatement. We greatly look forward to servicing the California students and cooperating with CSAC for all the growth ahead. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Any questions from our commissioners before we go to public comment? Please, Commissioner Haynes.
Yes, thank you, Chair. So this is more of a staff question for Deputy Director King. So you mentioned submission of materials, but were there also additional touch points? I'm just curious about the level of due diligence that we engaged in here regarding this recommendation.
Yeah, thank you for the question, Commissioner Haynes. When we notified the institution that they did not meet those particular thresholds for cohort default rate and graduation rates, they did reach out to our staff to understand what is their options for appeal. And we worked with both campuses, a lot of different meetings and email exchanges, and provided them the process and the sufficient documentation that was needed. We reviewed the documents that were provided to us. They are included in your commission packet that goes through how the representation of students at their campus and how it's not representative of the first-time, full-time. Both institutions serve mostly transfer students and part-time students. That's the nature of the academic studies that they provide for their students. And so it was a constant back and forth with the institutions and making sure that as we presented to you today, they met all of the requirements of the appeal and of the small cohort size. And we would be able to present that to the commissioners this morning.
Thank you very much for sharing that. And it's good to hear that there was a lot of back and forth and adequate due diligence work, was taken here seriously. So thank you so much for that information.
Other Commissioner Cardoso?
Hi, good morning. So I thank you so much for being here, to the representatives as well, to hear directly from you. I have a question for the commission. I've almost hit a year on this, but as being part of the commission, but I'm still learning along the way. So my question is this the first time that these two universities have been in this situation? And just across the state, what is this looking like? How many appeals do we receive per year?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Commissioner Cardoza. To my knowledge, I believe this is the first time that these institutions have been in this situation, specifically around graduation rate, because each year the cohort changes as we're looking for the new cohort every year. As I shared in the presentation, this small cohort size is the only exception to the appeal process, the only consideration. We do have, on an annual basis, campuses that may not meet the cohort default rate or the graduation rate, because as those numbers change. In the past, there have been campuses that have experienced not meeting that threshold and has been presented to the commission, and the commission has taken action.
Thank you.
Any other questions from commissioners?
Yes, I'm Chair Cifuentes. This is Commissioner Dopplemore. Thank you both for this is for the representatives for the campuses that are the institutions that are before us today. If you could just briefly share a couple of comments or examples on some of the efforts that your institutions are currently involved in that support student success. Some of the efforts, I'm mainly speaking, some of the efforts to kind of increase some of the cohort sizes. We have a number of students on just all our different institutional levels. And I just want to hear a little bit about your institutions and some of those efforts that you guys are championing to make sure that all the students in California are successful when they walk onto some of the campuses. Just briefly, just a couple of examples. Thank you.
Yeah, this is Jay from Los Angeles Pacific, and I'm happy to start. And thank you for the question. We have a number of initiatives in place. Again, most of our students are transfer students. They have had previous education experiences before, and in some cases, they were traditional age students at one time, but for whatever reason, life got in the way and it delayed their ability to pursue education. So we have a Great Start initiative that works with our students coming back into education to really help try to address and remediate any issues that may have delayed or made it difficult for them to pursue education in the past. And we show good results for those. When we look at this overall cohort for the 18-19 year that we're talking about, graduation rate well over 35%. And so it really is a small number issue that we're dealing with in this appeal. And Los Angeles Pacific just 2 years ago received a 10-year reaffirmation of accreditation from the Western Association, which is really unheard of for an institution that is as young as we are, just 12 years old. So we're happy about that, excited about that. I've been in this role now for 8 months. I took over from really the founding president of the university. And so excited to work with my colleague, Dr. Sheen, as we continue to work toward the very best academic results for this group of students.
Yeah, and if I could just maybe add on to that real quick and share an example or two. Jay mentioned that Great Start. We require students who bring in less than 30 transfer credits to take what we call kind of an orientation course. In that course, we require 5 one-on-one sessions with our success coaches. And that's our way of really both helping them form spiritually, but also really grounding them in the high-touch support that we provide our students. And then secondarily, we have extremely high expectations for faculty instruction, both in terms of the amount of times that they engage with the student, but also in the constructive, timely feedback that they provide students. There's many more, but I don't want to hog the mic, so I'll stop there.
Thank you both for that. I really appreciate it. That provides a little bit more insight into some of the initiatives and how you are serving students in California. So good luck to you, and thank you very much for your examples.
All right, any other questions for commissioners? Okay, at this time, I'd like to go ahead and I'll turn it over to you, Kat, for any public comment on this item.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Public comment for item number is now open. Let's see. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 in-person public comments in the downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Ed, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now all virtual attendees. Please unmute yourself. We have 0 public comments. I will now hand it back to the chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. At this time, commissioners, if I can get a motion to approve our institutional appeals.
This is Commissioner Doppelmayr. I'll make a motion to approve the appeals.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Doppelmayr, and I had a second from Commissioner Gary and Commissioner Valdelide. All right, at this time, we'll go ahead and we'll do a roll call vote. Please, Kat.
Thank you. Beginning with Chair Cifuentes,
Aye.
Commissioner Cardosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Dopplemore,
Aye.
Commissioner Dow,
Aye.
Commissioner Gary,
Aye.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Saravia, Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vang.
Aye.
Motion has passed. I will turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I want to go ahead and just, motion carries, and I want to say thank you to our two institutions that are here today. And I want to say thank you for your commitment to students of California and meeting their diverse needs in both your campuses. And we know in California, the majority of our students are not first-time freshmen just graduating in a few weeks, and they have unique experiences, and they're single parents, students with families, and they still have that desire and belief in higher education will transform their lives. So I just want to say thank you to both your campuses for continuing that commitment. And please don't just come visit us for things like this. We're here. CSEC is here to support you. The team is here to support you. So whatever you need, please come back. And thank you for all you do for our students in California.
Thank you. Thank you to the commission.
Okay, at this time, we'll go ahead and move on to our next item, item number 9, strengthening our college affordability regional outreach and supports. So I know Carolyn Missa, our Chief Deputy Executive Director, will lead us through this next action item.
Again, good morning, commissioners. I first want to give a shout out to the CalSO project directors who are joining us today. I just was looking around and I see that there's several of them, as well as some RCOs who attended. So I just want to give them a thank you for the work that they do every day to help students make that transition from high school to higher education. And also thank them for their support in making changes to the programs and incorporating new practices to better serve their communities. They've been very receptive to this, and just continue to giving them kudos for all of the work that they do day to day. So thank you all. This item 9 provides you with the annual request to approve the proposed fiscal year 2026-27 funding allocations for the 16 CalSOAPs that exceed $250,000, and it requires the commission to approve entering into contracts in accordance with the commission's governance policies and procedures. So the total CalSOAP budget allocation is $10,092,000, and they range from $399,000 to almost $1.4 million. To serve statewide. Next slide. We have the map here. It says the areas that are served CalSOAP from the North Coast to San Diego and Imperial counties. So this reflects the allocations for the breakdown for each of the projects. The 26-27 funding allocations are consistent with prior years, as additional funds have not been allocated through the state budget. Each CalSOAP project is required to complete and submit a renewal grant proposal that justifies their program strategies, and it demonstrates strong alignment with the goals of the Student Success Blueprint. The governing boards of each CalSOAP project that consist of representatives from local secondary school districts, community colleges, universities, community agencies, and also may include career technical schools. They determine the services and college access needs of its local schools and communities. The overarching goal of the CalSOAP is to build a robust partnerships between the K-12 schools with the institutions of higher education. So the commission staff will review each proposal to ensure that the proposed programs, the activities, the services, that they all align with the core mission to boost financial aid completion and college application rates for underserved students, thereby improving the post-secondary enrollment prospects. Commission staff will then award the contracts that serve as the formal agreement. They define the roles, the responsibilities, and commitments of all the parties. And then an executed contract reflects the CalSOAP's dedication to building strong partnerships and maximizing collective impact within their communities. Next slide. So the WestEd evaluation, the legislative report, is required to analyze future changes to the program. The report was completed in June of 2025 by WestEd, And it was presented to the Student Impact Outreach and Communications Committee on September 3rd, 2025, and to the full commission on September 4th, 2025. The evaluation conducted by WestEd provides a comprehensive statewide view of CalSOAP's implementation and impact, and it included all 16 projects. The evaluation identified 12 best practices that include best practices for simplifying complicated financial aid processes. And Chair Cifuentes, earlier today when you mentioned how students and how many students and what, you've done to connect with those students and the phone calling directly just to explain that, it's definitely something that we need to do more work with. Students need to understand. We need to help them as well as their parents. And as you know, parents, when they hear different stories and they may not hear the right ones from their comadres or others, and so that they take that information and then they think that it's true. So I definitely support that we need to do more to help simplify this process, what we consider a complicated process for these families and students. And then best practices for building self-efficacy and best practices for building college knowledge and supporting action. Additional resources may be needed to deploy all the best practices, but we're starting with 3 being implemented for the 26-27 fiscal year. And we'll continue to strategize and make decisions for the remaining 9 best practices. So next slide. These are the 12 best practices, and adopting the best practices across all CalSOAP projects to expand the reach of the program is a strategic direction number 7 of Goal 1, equitable access, to collaborate with CalSOAP projects and Cash for College regional coordinating organizations to continue analyzing the data and evaluating programs to adopt best practices and expand the reach of the program. So these are the 12 best practices as identified in the evaluation report. Commission staff worked with the CalSOAP project directors to align the best practices as identified in the evaluation report. We aligned with the 3 for this next fiscal year, and we've incorporated these practices in the 26-27 contract. And we've asked the project directors to also provide more information on how they will deploy these best practices. We'll continue to work closely with the projects to provide professional development, to share best practices from those projects that are already incorporating those services in their work, and then just to support to deploy this year. The first one. Next slide. Next slide. Next slide. So under the simplifying complicated financial aid processes is financial incentives and removing barriers. This is exactly what Chair Cifuentes stated earlier today on students who still don't understand how financial aid works and how it impacts them. We need to connect with them and their parents and connecting them with scholarships and other resources. Many of these students do not have, even at some of their high schools, do not have someone who can hold their hand and walk them through. And sometimes that's what it means. So the CalSOAP projects are those resources, those foot soldiers who can help in these areas. Next slide. The second is under building self-efficacy through effective support of managing anxiety and emotions. We have to create environments that acknowledge these anxieties that students experience and helping them with coping skills. The emotional aspect of preparing for college is many times overlooked. We have to support confidence and engage parents in the process so they understand and reduce that stress for them as well. We know that there are many populations of students right now, especially mixed status family students, undocumented students, that right now have a lot of anxiety and trying to make a decision as to whether they move forward in submitting an application, either for financial aid or for admissions. It's something that they're dealing with. And it's not just getting them to that line to sign, but it's helping them to get there, helping them to understand, encouraging them, encouraging their parents. We all know that there are those fears that exist out there, but we are here to support them. We are here to walk them through it and explain it and comfort them at times as well too. So this work needs to be incorporated into the work that we do. Next slide. The third practice is under building college knowledge and supporting action. Curriculum workshops that emphasize hands-on learning. We need to provide interactive workshops and curricula that allow students and families to actively participate in college attainment process. Engaging in the interactive, non-traditional workshops, students will develop navigational skills. So we know we all go, we've been to Cash for College workshops. We go in, the parents sit down, there's a laptop in front of them. We have support there to help them through that process of completing the application. But we need to do more. We need to give them opportunities for learning more than just that application process. And that may mean different things to different communities, but that is one thing that we do want to incorporate into the work that CalSOAP does so that we can have these interactive opportunities for families to participate in this process. Next slide. Strengthening resources towards best practices. So we have, I think we've advocated for funds on the state side. So CalSOAP has not received an increase in their allocation for many, many years. And so CSAC worked with looking at what other opportunities for funding to help support them, especially when we want them to the evaluation came out. We want to take those steps to start incorporating and deploying those best practices. We know how successful some of the projects that already have incorporated that work is doing. So we want to be able to help to support them. And so we have done an ask of both federal and state funding to help support. We'll continue to support CalSOAP to incorporate all these best practices into their work, and we'll continue to partner with CalSOAP directors to advocate for more resources, and fundraising is encouraged to ensure that communities have the resources to address local priorities and needs. As we deploy best practices and we continue to improve areas to better serve students, it'll require measuring the work through data collection. And that's one thing that in prior years, commissioners have always asked, well, what does the data look like? What are the services and activities that are being performed? And how can we measure that to see if that is truly being successful and they are increasing the numbers of students filing for FAFSA or CADA, or in other areas, even college admission areas. So data is so critical, and we need to continue to collect and report it. We have to align the services that are provided across the state, including standardizing practices and incorporating feedback for students and families. We want to hear how well are we doing? How are our workshops? How is the activities that we have? Is it working? We need to ask the user, is it working? And if not, how can we modify it? How can we incorporate new things? So as we continue to work on establishing metrics for these practices and we analyze the data, we will have more opportunities to show how well the program works and its success as more students move into that transition from high school and going to college. Next slide. So this is, before you is the proposed 26-27 CalSOAP allocations for each of the 16 and the amounts that are allocated to each. Next slide. And therefore, it's an action item. Our recommendation is that approving the proposed fiscal year 2026-27 CalSOAP funding allocations and authorizing staff to execute the grant agreements with the 16 CalSOAP consortia upon approval of the final 26-27 state budget appropriation, and continue delegation to the executive director to reallocate fiscal year 26-27 funds equitably if a project cannot utilize all of its allocated funds, or if the final 26-27 Budget Act amends the total proposed appropriation. Next slide. Thank you. Any questions?
All right, commissioners, I'll take this time to see if any of you have questions.
I don't have a question, more a comment. I just really want to thank our partners for CalSOAP. I see how much work it takes to make sure that our students have the information and our families have the information that they need. And I really appreciate this continuous improvement mindset, and want to shout out our partners at WestEd for doing this evaluation and making sure that we are putting forward the best practices. So good job. Thank you so much for this presentation, and to our CalSOAP partners.
Yeah.
All right, Commissioner Maxey?
Yes, I'm always talking CalSOAP as I sit here in the CalSOAP office in San Diego. Question in regards to number 4, I think, of the best practices, when it talked about incentives. have there been reductions? What incentives are we referring to? I remember years ago, there used to be some monetary incentives for students attending certain workshops and those kinds of things. And I don't remember why those were cut out. If it well, funding is one thing, but also the fact that maybe there was some ruling about doing that, where if you attended a workshop, your name went into a bucket and they pulled for some scholarships and like $500, $1,000, something like that. And I know that the staff is working with less people now because it costs more to hire the students, the college students. It's just a lot of things swirling around it. And with their allocations, have they been reduced, or is this what they received last year? So that they can maintain at least what they did last year? Because I looked this morning when I came in at the report just for San Diego County on completion of FAFSA, not including DREAM Act, but how we have improved in San Diego County. We haven't reached the goal, but we have definitely improved. And how that, if the funding is reduced, how that will affect them doing these best practices.
Yes, thank you for the question, Commissioner Maxey. So the funding allocation has been consistent over the past years. So there is no reduction. It's what they've received in prior year. As I mentioned earlier, that we have, we know that with the new services under the best practices that we're going to incorporate, we're looking to, we advocated for additional funds, both from the federal government as well as the state. And Justin was going to provide an update with that. And so he can answer that part of it. But that is, as well as, I mentioned the fundraising because I think it's important too, because there is a match for CalSoap. And the fundraising is an opportunity for CalSoap projects to see if they can increase for that purpose of incentivizing students to come to the workshops. I think way back in the day, Commissioner Maxey, we did have, and I think it was, they were from philanthropy funds. So we were able to utilize those funds to distribute to the projects to use as to get gift cards, to bring them in, to do a raffle. And so that, if that's an opportunity for some of the community partners and fundraisers for CalSoaps to help get support for that, we do. That is one of the recommendations, is that to incentivize, get students there, right, to those events and those activities so they can participate, but also using those types of incentives to encourage them to come and their families.
Okay, thank you.
And if I could just jump in, this is Justin. Thank you, Catalina, for that context. I just wanted to provide a brief update on the state and federal funding asks that we have for our CalSoaps. So on the federal side, we were asking for $8 million as a part of a partnership with Senator Padilla's office. We don't really have an update on where that is in the process at this point. We are hopeful that it continues to advance, but we are not necessarily counting on that funding. And then on the state side, today we have, as we'll get into in the next item, an update on the May revision as presented by the governor this morning. You will not see additional funding for CalSoaps reflected in that budget. That being said, as you all may remember, during our advocacy day, we were going around to the legislature and asking for $24 million in one-time funding over a 3-year period. Those advocacy processes are ongoing, and we will speak to that in a continuing conversation with our CalSoaps directors, and continuing to hope that that ultimately makes it into the final budget agreement working with the legislature.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a question. So as we look at CalSoap, how do they engage, parents in terms of parents that may need to come back for upskilling, reskilling, or other opportunities? And I ask because I wonder if there's an opportunity to both engage parents who may need to access available financial aid opportunities on top of their traditional students.
Yeah, I think for the most part, the current projects work directly with the high school students. And then also they do have parents that they also have activities with, and but it's more on the completion of the financial aid applications. I don't know if there's any of the CalSO projects that are currently on that want to speak on that with regards to adults.
I can speak on it just from our CalSOAP. Supporting parents happens organically because they're there and they're here is talking about financial aid. And just this cycle, we had one parent who's going to community college, and she was paying for her community college and realized I could submit an application too. I think I'll qualify. And a lot of these families think they make too much money and not realize that the income is opportunity is there for them to also qualify for some financial aid. And so then we end up helping them. So I know the current funding structure is just directly for the students, and that's the data we're collecting and the data we're accountable for. And I just saw, Matt, you turn your camera on, so you could probably spend a little bit more, but I love the idea. I think we help them if they're there and they ask, but it's not a direct outreach. But I do think there's opportunity, especially when you think of so many different programs that it's like that isolated funding of Head Start. Head Start resources gets funds, but does it always reach to the parents getting the college access opportunity? And you think of, migrant ed and other different departments, that the goal is to get adults and parents and families back into some type of credentialing program, post-secondary education. But I love the idea, and I'd welcome any type of additional support for that. But I think we do help them anyway. So I don't know, Matthew Elders, our CalSOAP project director here at Riverside County. So I'll let him, if he wants to share a few words about the families we've helped.
Yeah, no, thank you, Catalina. Definitely as we help some of our students, they have relatives that has wanted to get back into school. So as we work at our school sites, we have been asked if we have like virtual appointments or anything like that to work with their aunties or their parents, or work with cousins or older siblings. They want to get back into school. So we have talked about those types of opportunities. But I do like an idea of getting more adults involved, especially ones that may have left us a few years ago. They've gone to the workforce and then they realize they want to go back into school to do something more.
All right, we'll go to Commissioner Doppelmoor and then our Executive Director, Dr. Gonzalez.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. I just have just a point of clarification. I do understand that there is no additional funding for this upcoming year, but just year over year. So the funding for each consortium has pretty much stayed the same, but were there any slight adjustments for each one year over year? Or did they pretty much like stay the same?
They've stayed
So Catalina, Mister, so they say the same the year over the year. Okay, again, and I just want to say, the partnerships, our CalSOAP consortiums, they do an amazing job. They're working with our students year round to include the summer. That summer melt that we've talked about in the past, helping students, whether they are going to college at our K through 12 level and segments, if they are K through 12s, that that the consortiums have a direct partnership, or some of those other students or some of those other campuses that are not necessarily directly served. Our CalSOAP consortiums are providing services to all the students that are aligned to them and those campuses that are also on the margin. And they are working not just the school year, but throughout the summer. So this funding that we have here, yes, we are appreciative of this funding, but we will continue to support our CalSOAP consortiums, and we will ask for additional funding. So again, thank you so very much, and kudos and great job to all of our consortiums that are on the call today and those that could not join us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Dr. Gonzalez?
It's hard to go after Commissioner Doppelmoor. I was certainly feeling that type of clarity that was needed here in this conversation, particularly because the reason why we were asking for resources throughout our budget advocacy is because this is a program that has not seen any increases. In fact, it has had volatile resources. Prior to 2015, this program was funded utilizing federal dollars, and it has shifted between federal dollars versus state dollars. And in the last 10 years, it has been state funding that has sustained the CalSOAPs. But says sustain literally means let's hope we don't get reduced. And at the same time, they have taken on additional workload. They are now not just on the ground and with your CSAC Student Success Blueprint, also integrating CalKids. Now, as of the release of the May revise, now they'll have to start answering questions related to Workforce Pell. Beyond that, we just celebrated historic record numbers. Those are all of their hard work, their staff, as their costs keep increasing with zero COLAs and zero investments. I know as I've talked to the CalSOAPs, these are the stories that they have shared with me. The directors are doing the outreach. They're thinking innovatively about their partnerships, their philanthropy, sustaining at least a few employees, trying to add on student workers and trying to keep up with the work. But this proposal, at least for now, sustains based on what we know on the state budget. We'll continue to advocate for them. But I think, Commissioner Ferguson, the real question you were asking is about the potential here to leverage this network, this resource. And as a part of that resource, I would also include all of the Cash for College organizations that we work with who are in a similar situation. And so our request for the $8 million will continue throughout the state budget process, as well as at the federal level. This is not optional for us. These are the only people on the ground that are actually educating and convening communities and providing clarity. I know that you know that, but it's also why it was one of our top budget advocacy requests. And I'll share a little bit more in the next item as well. Matthew, I saw you come on board. I don't know if you wanted to chime in.
No, definitely appreciate that, Dr. Gonzalez. No, we're one of the newer CalSOAPs. We're 5 years in, but as we've seen, we had our budget funding each year, and we try to make the most of it. Last year, we had a record number of coaches graduate from us. So we had 26 college success coaches graduate from us. So we had to refill those positions. But as we continue, it's just part of the program. We definitely are in need of more because we're working with our seniors right now, but we definitely want to go down there our 9th, 10th, and 11th grade students and eventually get to our middle schools as well. So we can do the outreach earlier. So that it's less of a heavy lift as their senior year comes along. And you know, students are dealing with so much their senior year. If we could do the financial literacy and the college and career readiness earlier throughout their school year through K through 12, I believe we could get more out of it for our students, and they would benefit greatly from just having that as a sustained culture multiple school years instead of just senior year. But we're doing the best we can. Our coaches are doing college applications, financial aid applications. We're doing CalKids. We're looking for scholarships. We're doing military. We do a lot of different things here, especially with our CalSOAP. But all of our CalSOAP partners, we're all filling it because we want to expand. We just don't have the funds right now.
Matthew, I wanted just to add that in addition, the Riverside County Consortium, we don't just have traditional high schools, we have alternative education sites in our CalSOAP program. And so that's the commitment we made, that we were going to, if we partner with the district, they were going to include also their continuation high school. Next week, we will be celebrating the first high school in the state of California to hit 100% CalKids, college savings accounts completion. And that happens to be a CalSOAP high school, but what makes it even more unique, it's an alternative continuation high school. So for the first school in the state to hit 100% and also be a continuation high school, is that commitment to those students that they, hey, their path looks a little bit different, but we believe in you, you can go to college. So we'll be celebrating the next week. They get a banner here in Riverside County, and we do a little party for them when they get 100%. But I share that because even more importantly, like, it is a CalSOAP school, and that principal will probably call the CalSOAP coaches to come on stage with her and celebrate with her. And she always, her high FAFSA rates, she says, I cannot do this without my coaches. And so I'll take some pictures of the coaches there and send it over to Dr. Gonzalez to share with you all. But there is a huge power in what these CalSOAP coaches, success coaches do in our state. So definitely something to celebrate there. I want to give an opportunity, any other of our CalSOAP directors that are on, or consortium leads, if they'd like to unmute and say a few words or just a few comments, I want to give you that opportunity as well. And if not, that's okay. I just wanted to make sure everyone had a chance if they'd like to add additional information. Okay. All right, seeing or hearing none. Any other questions from our commissioners before we go to public comment? Hey, Kat, I'll turn it over to you for public comment.
Thank you, Chair Cifuentes. Public comment item for number 9 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature, but we will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street location. Then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now all virtual attendees. We do have one public comment from Jaime Ramirez Mendoza. I will now ask Jaime to unmute himself. You will have 2 minutes.
Gracias, Kat. Buenos dias, commissioners. My name is Jaime Ramirez Mendoza, Senior Policy Analyst at Etros West. And first, I want to commend CSAC for partnering with WestEd to evaluate CalSoap. And the findings are pretty clear. These supports increase financial aid completion, expand access, and the personalized guidance really does drive stronger student outcomes. And we especially appreciate the analysis that includes all CalSoaps across the state. As somebody from Del Norte County, I appreciate that y'all included everybody. And the elevation of project director insights on how to guide how these recommendations will be implemented in a tight budget year. And at Trust West and our Financial Aid for All coalition strongly supports additional investments in CalSoaps. And we were hoping for an investment to come out in the May revise, and we will continue to advocate for such investments because we understand how critical these resources are to helping students and families complete the application and access financial aid resources. To strengthen future iterations of this work, we respectfully encourage CSAC to consider some of the following. Prioritizing support in regions that have the lowest FAFSA completions or regions that don't have CalSoaps at all. Prioritizing professional development training, outreach, and events to address persistent CADA declines. Strategize how to create a uniform system to track opt-out rates and practices. Leveraging the updated, I'm going to mispronounce this, but I don't know how to pronounce it, the Lakai data system and dashboard to publish annual CalSoap reports on reach and performance, disaggregated by different student demographics such as race, FAFSA completion, and Cal Grant eligibility. And then lastly, continuing to pair these efforts to advocate for investments in financial aid staff capacity, especially at the community college level, so students can fully access the aid that they've earned. That being said, muchísimas gracias for your continued leadership to provide students with equitable access to financial aid. And we look forward to continuing to partner with you to ensure California's affordability policies and practices truly serves all students.
Thank you so much, Jaime. Thank you for being here with us and your continued partnership. I want to just echo what you just mentioned about professional development. I think if there's one thing we've learned and we've pushed these over the years with CSAC is, we love our high school counselors, but it cannot just be them. And that's where our CalSoap programs come in. We always say we're not here to supplant you. We're here to support you and complement the work you're doing. And in addition to just these other partners, the more individuals we can share and educate. And I always tell some of the high school counselors, they get nervous. Oh, Catalina, but what if they give the wrong information? And I said, well, let's train them so they have the baseline information. So to get the student not to give up, and then we'll hand them over to you because you'll be able to go in the weeds with the conversation, right? And that's what our CalSoap college students do. I also, when you were talking, I was thinking another research idea in that is, I don't know if hopefully everyone realizes within the CalSoap is they're college students too. And like Matthew just shared, how many of our students are graduating? And so part of that, the program not only helps the students in the K-12 world, but the current college students that are CalSoap students. And we have ones that are getting their master's degree and they're getting their bachelor's. And I think it'd be so important to see we work with them too. We encourage them. Can we get a week off because I have finals? Of course we can. I mean, what job's going to modify your schedule and support you? And and do what we do. So I know all the consortiums do that for their students, for their CALSO success students. And so I think there's so much to say about the program. Also, return on investment on all the students we hire and how many of them actually finish their degree. And they are first gen, low income, et cetera, type students. So thank you so much for highlighting that. All right, any other public comment virtually?
There are none.
Okay, thank you. So at this time, I'll ask for a motion for item number 9 to approve that was outlined by Catalina Missler.
Commissioner Maxey, motions.
Thank you, Commissioner Maxey. If I can get a second, Commissioner Valladolid, I see a second. All right, at this
Second.
time, thank you. At this time, we'll go ahead and do roll call.
Thank you. Beginning with Chair Cifuentes,
Abstain?
Commissioner Cardosa,
Aye.
Vice Chair Day,
Aye.
Commissioner Dopplemore, Commissioner Dow,
Aye.
Commissioner Gary,
Aye.
Commissioner Haynes,
Aye.
Secretary Maxey,
Aye.
Commissioner Ferguson,
Aye.
Commissioner Robinson, Commissioner Rodriguez, Commissioner Saravia,
Aye.
Commissioner Valladolid,
Aye.
and Commissioner Vang.
Aye.
Motion has passed. I'll turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you so much, commissioners, and thank you again to all our CALSO consortiums, those who are on. I mean, you probably are working with students and you're listening and working with students. So we just want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for your commitment. And I just want to echo what Jaime shared. We're going to continue to advocate for additional resources and for all your consortium partners that pull together and buy the food and do the other pieces for you. Just want to say thank you to all of them. All right, at this time, commissioners, we're kind of weird part in our agenda. We probably, instead of taking a longer lunch break, we'll do about a 15-minute break, if that's okay with you all. We can come in here and then get out of here complete our meeting before 1 o'clock instead of doing a longer lunch break. If that sounds good, but I want to turn it over to ask Dr. Gonzalez. If we were to come back by 12:15, would that work, Dr. Gonzalez, or 12:20? You tell us.
I need till 12:20. I need to be able to go look at the state budget before I can confidently present this next item. So if you would allow me, please have something to eat, walk around, get some coffee. I need at least 15 minutes to get this part done.
Okay, and I know we're waiting for speakers, so that works for our
Yes.
presenters? Okay. All
Thank
right,
you so
commissioners.
much.
Thank you. We'll go ahead and take almost a 20-minute break. Back slowly, turning their. I see everyone coming back, turning their cameras on slowly, so I'll just wait, Dr. Gonzalez, for you to give us the okay when we're ready to come back together.
We're ready.
Okay, all right, Kat, we're all good too? I think we're recording? Okay. All right, everyone, thank you so much. Welcome back to our commission meeting. At this time, we're going to move to item number 10, an update on the governor's May revision. This is an informational item, and we are so excited to have a few speakers to join us today. So I'm going to turn it over to our executive director, Dr. Daisy Gonzalez, to take us through this item.
Good afternoon, commissioners. It's 12:22. We have 8 brief slides, and as you can imagine, we were doing this in real time. I am honored to be joined by several guest speakers with me today. First is Justin Hurst, our Government Relations and Advocacy Manager, who has been furiously presenting to you while also transitioning so that we could have a successful presentation as a part of item 10. We're also going to be joined by several other speakers. Here today with us is Dr. Keith Curry, president of Compton College, big partner and ally as we have been reimagining financial aid for adult learners to be able to advance the CSAC Student Success Blueprint. You also have Alex Graves from AICCU, who has been a great partner as we're thinking about Golden State Teacher Grant Program and how to better support AICCU students, as well as Jake Brimner, who you may know, especially if you've been here with the commission for longer than 2 years. He was our prior deputy director for public affairs and government relations, and now a UC Berkeley student. And so they will be joining us very briefly. I wanted to go straight to slide number 2. And in the time that we have been in this meeting at 10:34, the governor released the May revise as a part of the 2026-27 state budget. In slide 2, if we could go back one more, please. You're on 3. Perfect. Really, the background on the outlook for the state of California. This governor's May revision delivers a $1.8 billion reduction to the general fund spending. The budget is being balanced as a way of creating different cuts and to be able to leave the state with a reserve for the next administration. The proposal cuts California's long-term operating imbalances by more than half by 28-29 and marks a significant multi-year fiscal stabilization effort for Governor Newsom. The revised budget does not propose significant new ongoing general fund spending commitments. Instead, the governor was focused on prioritizing fiscal restraint, long-term sustainability, and protecting the state against future economic mobility. Really important to note that as a result of these actions, we now have an operating reserve of $4.5 billion in 26-27 and a $2.1 billion reserve in 27-28. It also means that there are key opportunities as we're thinking about the May revise process, which all comes to a close in the next 2 weeks. So if you go to the next slide, we are roughly around that light blue right in the middle, the governor's May revise budget and legislative hearings. Next week, the team and I will be visiting legislative offices, and I will be at legislative hearings, most likely taking place next Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And you all know that this all comes to a close by June 30th of 2026. Very similarly, also the team immediately begins working on any trailable language cleanup as a result of the budget being passed, as well as focusing in on your budget change proposals, which we will deliver by your retreat at Cal State LA. So I want to take a step back before we move forward and go to the next slide and remind you where you identified key priorities and gaps as a part of the California Student Aid Commission. This is a process that we started last year. We had the conversation at our retreat. We adopted very clear budget change proposals that were to be submitted to the administration. Several of you joined us for our budget advocacy, and the sections that you see in yellow were the things that we highlighted as a part of the May revision that were not optional for CSAC. So I'll highlight the things in yellow and I'll go back to some of the gray areas. The first one is, of course, our IT infrastructure. This specific request was really focused on our backup server. So if you remember, we have one server. If that server goes down, no financial aid can be administered in the state of California. Every single student would have to reapply for financial aid because there is no backup server. So the request included being able to procure a backup server as well as the one position to be able to configure the server, I'm not a technology expert. I wish Commissioner Robinson was here, but this was an initial BCP that she helped us with that started off with 3 positions, narrowed down to just 1 as we work with the California Department of Technology. You all also knew that we didn't just sit around hoping and thinking that we would get positions out of nowhere. We did work with the California Department of Technology to be able to address our immediate risk, and they awarded us $92,000 to at least begin to be able to take the next step for a backup server. Also in yellow were our auditing needs, a request for 8 positions to be able to audit our own programs, not just in operational resources that relate to everything with contracting, but more importantly in our partnership with institutions, being able to keep up with both state and federal requirements as a part of administering our aid. And then lastly, our critical legal support, 1 entry-level attorney as increased workload increase for our 1.5 attorneys here at the agency. Ana and Edmundo do incredible work. But as you all know, we have seen increases in workload, whether it's appeals or request or public records request, questions from students, particularly as they navigate this new federal administration, additional needs for guidance. The other 3 BCPs were related to programs that we administer, as well as other physical operational needs. A new space as we attempt to meet the governor's request to come back in person. The other one was related to our call center, so being able to increase the number of student workers in our call center. And then the other one, of course, the Golden State Teacher Grant Program, at least being able to sustain the program to meet current caseloads. Next slide, please. Then we hit the ground running in March. We enter the state capitol and we focus in on the 3 requests that were highlighted in yellow. So our IT, our legal, as well as our auditing needs here at the agency. We partner with the Cal SOAPs and really focus in on being able to meet the demand that they have as well as partners. And then really thought about building affordable pathways to advance your adult learner goals as a part of the CSAC Student Success Blueprint. 3 things were identified: the arrival of workforce Pell for all states, and what California could do with that new federal program, as well as thinking about how we could expand Cal Grant C, a program that is currently utilized by adult learners primarily in the California community colleges. And then incredible data that shows us that even if we can invest in Cal Grant reform, the one thing we could do is to extend Cal Grant transfer entitlement to the age of 30, because that is the average age of most community college students who are transferring to a UC and a CSU. You also then highlighted the continued need to safeguard students' vulnerable information, particularly around the California DREAM Act application. And you continue to elevate the importance of the Golden State Teacher Grant Program and the Middle Class Scholarship. This is the part where we now turn to not good news. And so I'm really glad that you're all sitting down. If you could go to the next slide. The good news is we are not being cut. However, there are no significant increases or investments in college affordability for the state of California in this year's May revise. Very importantly, though, the Cal Grant program is an entitlement program, and so you do see that the entitlement has been met, meaning the May revise fully funds caseload increases. We just celebrated an increased number of students applying for financial aid, and what you do see is the entitlement promise being kept up with. Here on this slide, you see increases from $2.9 billion to $3.2 billion just for Cal Grant alone. You do see that in the May revise, we continue to see the sustained reduction of the middle class scholarship, so continues to fund it at 17.5%. And then, of course, the Golden State Teacher Grant Program, a program that was supposed to sunset, which last year got one-time funding, is also now being proposed with limited funding. And we went from a $500 million program to a program with $50 million appropriation to now a program with $16.2 million in appropriation for special education individuals, and then only $1.6 million to award the program that we currently have today. I want to hand it over to Justin, who's going to walk you through a few of the other pieces in the May revise, and then he will lead us through our panel.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez. Next slide, please. So the first thing that I'll highlight is building off of that last bullet point that Dr. Gonzalez shared, and specifically it is for the Golden State Teacher Grant Program. As you are probably aware, there has been continued advocacy on this effort to continue the program and provide for additional funding. While there is additional award authority that is being granted for the budget year with the existing funds, one thing that is notable is that there is now a proposed diversion of federal funds to support this program. In particular, the administration is proposing as a part of the May revise to use IDEA funds to provide for $20,000 grant awards beginning in the budget year to students that are seeking special education credentials. And this is being proposed on an ongoing basis, which would be essentially a new version of the Golden State Teacher Grant Program targeted to this specific population. The second thing that I'll highlight is there is a change to the operational budget in terms of position authority for the California Student Aid Commission. In particular, as a part of that request for a backup server that Dr. Gonzalez highlighted earlier, we are being granted position authority for an IT specialist 1 position to support that server. That being said, the administration does not propose to provide any additional resources to the commission for this position. And then the last thing that I'll highlight is
I thought they sent it to you, did they?
Apologies. The last thing I'll highlight is Workforce Pell. The administration has proposed trailer bill language to have the California Student Aid Commission as the authorized entity to engage with the U.S. Department of Education and institutions here in California in order to determine eligibility for the program. The funding has been set aside at a level of $664,000 on a one-time basis for the commission, but it is not currently fleshed out in how the commission will administer that funding, and I'll get into that in a little bit more detail on the next slide. But I will note now that there is not any position authority that is currently attached to this proposal. Next slide, please. All right, so this one's a little dense, so I'll try to not just read word for word, but some things that I'll highlight as a part of this trailer bill language as being proposed by the administration is that it is going to require the California Student Aid Commission to consult with certain partners, including Labor and Workforce Development Agency and Cradle to Career Data System, among others, such as the institutions, in order to determine institutional.
You can hear him and see him, so that's what's important.
In 90 days. It also grants the commission the authority to adopt emergency regulations and institutional participation agreements in order to execute this. Then we are also being directed to process a revocation process in the event that an institution program is determined to no longer be eligible for workforce health. And then lastly, as part of this trailer bill language, it does include a reporting requirement for the Student Aid Commission, including an initial evaluation of the program to be adopted no later than October 1st of 2027. And then a final evaluation for August 30th of 2030. Lastly, I will highlight as part of this proposal, the Cradle to Career Data System is being tasked with conducting data sharing MOUs with segments and then sharing that subsequent information with CSAC in order for CSAC to determine eligibility. And then they will be facilitating data reporting and analysis as a part of that process. Lastly, the EDD and Labor and Workforce Development Agency are also being required to provide CSAC with the necessary sector and occupation lists to CSAC to determine program eligibility. And then now I'll turn it over to our guests. So I will introduce them once again. Next slide, please. We are joined today by Dr. Keith Curry of Compton College, who will speak to the importance of modernization of Cal Grant C. Alex Graves of AICCU, who will speak to the Golden State Teacher Grant Program, and Jake Bremner joining us from UC Berkeley to speak on Workforce Pell. So Dr. Curry, I will turn it over to you first. Thank you for joining us, and please tell us a little bit more about the importance of modernizing Cal Grant C.
You know, I appreciate the opportunity to speak in front of the commission. This is my second time in one fiscal year to be able to speak in front of the board. You know, I'm just disappointed in regards to the Cal Grant C and the modernization of it. The key for us as community colleges and adult learners is to be able to provide support for our students as they matriculate through our process, but also we think about workforce Pell and what could be potentially available for our students to be able to match those dollars. And at Compton College, which I said before, our average graduate age is 27.5, and having more aid for those students is important. But we have adult learners who are not going to have some opportunities as ways to aid. So what do we do for them? And as you know, if we're not able to provide additional aid for those students, then what happens to them as relates to our as relates to their completing their degree or certificate at our institution. And so I'm disappointed in the governor's proposal. I'm actually disappointed in some other items too that other people are talking about, including Workforce Pell, because I think you have that opportunity through Workforce Pell to be able to utilize Cal Grant C to be able to meet the unmet needs of our students who are in some of those programs. And so I'm hopeful that the governor and Department of Finance can look at this as it goes through the budget process with the higher education committees in the Senate and also the Assembly. But what's critical for us, from my perspective, is to really look at how can we modernize Cal Grant C. I think the proposal from the Student Aid Commission is the right proposal for colleges within the state of California, and I continue to advocate and support it. But at the end of the day, we have adult learners who need additional aid, and that we can't back down from the from your strategic plan, your goals and initiatives of CSAC as you move forward. We can't move away from your blueprint. Sorry, we can't move away from your blueprint, because your blueprint is actually not just a blueprint for CSAC, but it's also a blueprint for many of our colleges, but also it's a path for our students to go through. So I'm disappointed with the governor's budget as it relates to modernization of Cal Grant C. There's going to be a number of students who are not going to be able to be served. And to me, those are students of color, and it's unacceptable. And what we can do together to advocate for that is very important.
All right, thank you, Dr. Curry. Alex, thank you also for joining us. As I discussed along with Dr. Gonzalez, there are some proposals in the governor's update through the May revision for the Golden State Teacher Grant Program. Would you please speak to the importance of that program?
Yeah, absolutely. And well, good afternoon, commissioners and guests. My name is Alex Graves, and thank you for the opportunity to be here on behalf of AICCU and our 80+ member institutions to talk about the Golden State Teacher Grant Program. We are deeply invested and committed to the preparation of California's future classroom teachers, and this grant program has and continues to be critical to ensuring that our teacher pipeline continues to reflect the diversity of our state, and that students in our priority and highest needs schools are taught by qualified and well-prepared teachers. So I'd like to talk a little bit about how the grant program helps address college affordability before pivoting to the impacts if this program is to sunset. So as you all are very aware from the great research that CSAC commissioned, since the program's inception, it has recruited over 27,000 credential candidates across 93 institutions, and roughly 53% of those grant recipients have been enrolled in educator prep programs at our sector. And that is significant. So for our programs, this grant gives students a tangible means to cut their cost by anywhere from 25 to 50%, and that's before you factor in any institutional aid that may be provided. And in talking with those running our programs, they just really wanted to emphasize that that's an incredibly powerful signal to students and helps to start conversations about how they can become a teacher that may not otherwise get off the ground without the presence of that grant program. It signals to them that there's a way for them to do this, and importantly, that the state values and supports them in that journey. This grant has also reduced financial barriers in ways that go beyond the immediate tuition. The findings from the CSAC survey demonstrate this, with 98% of respondents saying it was an important factor in their ability to complete their credential program, and has allowed them to reduce work hours or avoid taking on debt, and really enabling them and empowering them to complete the required student teaching and fieldwork that maybe they otherwise could not have afforded to do. Again, we really hear so much from those administering our programs and in the students they're working with. They've affirmed what your study has found, that this grant program allows somebody to alleviate any individual concerns they have about needing to work an extra job, or finding other ways to pay the bills while they're either in their program or first starting out in their teaching. Additionally, I do want to emphasize that this grant stacks really well with other supports that through state and federal programs, including things like teacher residency programs, teacher stipend programs, the federal teach grants. This helps really create a more complete financial aid package that makes credentialing viable, particularly for first-generation students and candidates from underrepresented communities. And so in thinking about the impact of this program, if it were to sunset or run out of funding, not only for the programs, but also students, I would like to emphasize, and I know our programs like to emphasize, that the Golden State Teacher Grant is not simply a financial aid strategy. It's also an equity strategy and a workforce strategy. Data from the Commission on Teacher Credentialing tells us that in 2024, 2025, we saw a 16% year-over-year increase in new teaching credentials, and that enrollment in California's teacher preparation programs grew by 4.6%. That is good news. Now the bad news. There is research from the Learning Policy Institute that just, I think, came out in the last month. They're Getting Down to Facts report, which found the following. Priority and highest need schools serving higher proportions of students from low-income households, English learners, students in foster care, and Black students continue to have significantly fewer fully credentialed teachers and more of the least prepared teachers. Additionally, nearly 1/4 of math teachers at these schools are either teaching outside their credential area or are otherwise not fully credentialed for the subject matter in which they are teaching. So why is that important? Well, we know that roughly 98% of the teacher credential holders who are getting this grant are currently employed at priority schools, working at over 2,500 priority schools. To wind down this program, the impact would be immediate and concentrated in communities that California can least afford to leave behind or walk away from. But this program has other important workforce impacts as well. Our deans and directors have shared that the grant has been really critical in recruiting individuals already working in schools and classified roles and helping them see a path to go get a credential and become a teacher in schools that they're already working in. Additionally, it is one of the only financial aid programs that supports individuals pursuing the pupil services credential, which leads to school-based careers in counseling, social work, psychology, and child welfare, which are all critical areas for supporting today's students. Our campus leaders also share that what the CSAC survey found, which is this program has been really instrumental in recruiting a population of teacher candidates who reflects the diversity of the communities in which they are living and working in. That outcome is not accidental. It is the direct result of this impactful financial aid program that has made teaching more accessible to those who have historically been priced out. If this program were to sunset without additional investments, that pipeline disruption will be felt immediately, not just for future cohorts, but in current students' decision-making right now. In quickly reviewing the May revise announcements, they are replacing roughly $14.4 million in carryover funds with about $16.2 million in federal special ed funds. While that is slightly more funding, my quick back of the napkin math leads me to believe that this is actually going to fund roughly 500 less teacher credential candidates than if we'd simply maintained that January funding amount due to the different maximum award allowances between the state program currently and the federal funding that's being provided. But I also just want to emphasize something that was shared with our program directors, which is the unpredictability and uncertainty of changing criteria and uncertain funding for this program, which has been an issue nearly every year since its inception, makes it really challenging for them, for their district partners and others to help build consistent understanding and awareness of the program and who is eligible for the program. Additionally, for students who are early in their undergraduate studies, the lack of stable ongoing funding makes it difficult for them to plan a career into teaching when the program may not exist when they reach the credential stage. I think as one of our directors put it, if the program seems iffy, students won't assume that they can rely on it. And so in thinking about this program moving forward and our advocacy and hopes for this program, I would just offer two things in closing. First, we and others will continue to advocate for stable, sustained funding Again, this program's been subject to multiple changes since its inception, and it makes it really challenging for advisors to confidently counsel students about their pathways into the program if they can't guarantee that the program will be there for them. So we need a state budget to really include significant funding commitments that allows institutions and students to plan well in advance. Second, we urge supporters and champions of this program to frame the Golden State Teacher Grant, again, not just as an affordability initiative, but also a workforce investment. While we recognize the budget's faced with many difficult funding decisions, we cannot expect to see continued momentum in the teacher pipeline if we cannot guarantee the financial tools that make it currently so accessible will still be there. So we're proud to be part of a coalition of over 60 organizations that's calling for a $100 million investment into the program. We hope to see additional funding between now and the final budget being signed to, again, ensure there's more robust opportunity for students going into any number of high-need areas and fields. And again, just thank you to CSAC for the opportunity to join the discussion today and to elevate this really critical program.
Thank you for providing that overview of the program and putting this proposal into context for us. Last but certainly not least, we are joined today by Jake, who will take us through the newest of the proposals, specifically for Workforce Pell.
Great. Well, good afternoon, commissioners. It is nice to see some familiar faces. For those who have not had an opportunity to meet, I'm Jake Bremner. Up until May of last year, I was the Deputy Director for Policy and Public Affairs at the Student Aid Commission. And for about the next week or so, I am a student here at UC Berkeley. And also have been very grateful to work with the Student Aid Commission team over the past several months, looking at the strategic opportunity in front of California as it relates to how we can best leverage this new federal funding source to help more of our students access career pathways and opportunities. Along the lines of what Dr. Curry and Alex spoke to, these are all three financial aid programs that are very aligned with career pathways and what students transition to as they leave our educational systems. So briefly today, I'll speak to what is Workforce Pell, why does it matter for California, this new state governance function for federal financial aid that's really rather unprecedented, and what that means for the Student Aid Commission, and then responding to the hot off the presses news that Justin shared about the May revision, what's been proposed as it relates to the trailer bill language, and the resources that would position California for implementation, and what we need to do to really build from that and help maximize the opportunity for California and its learners. So first, what is Workforce Pell? Sometimes it was referred to as short-term Pell. This refers to the extension of the federal Pell Grant program to programs that were not previously eligible for that Title IV aid, these short-term programs that were less than the 15-week program length minimum that had been required and still is required for this academic year for receipt of a Pell Grant. This was long debated by Congress. I don't know how many presentations I gave to you, commissioners, where we were sharing federal updates and saying, maybe they do a bipartisan agreement on Workforce Pell. And that's because there was really a consistent need over the last decade and even beyond that to address a growing area of our post-secondary educational systems and growing employer interest for individuals that were coming to them with these short-term certificates or credentials. From 2013 to 2022, the number of job postings that were seeking individuals with a short-term certification or credential grew from 18 to 29% of all job postings. Concurrently, institutions were responding to that employer interest, offering more of these programs, and they have, because of their short length, higher completion rates. But the challenge here is that they don't qualify for most forms, certainly not state or federal financial aid. So despite their shorter length, their connection to career pathways, particularly our returning adult learners, who I know the commission is looking at how they can better serve through the blueprint, they can't balance those work and family commitments with being able to step away even for maybe a 2-month, 2.5-month long program without that benefit of financial aid. Workforce Pell provides that opportunity by now making Pell Grant something that students could access for such programs if they're offered at an accredited institution. One of the reasons that this was such a challenge for Congress to authorize in the first place was a question around governance and accountability. And how would we define which of the short-term programs could access these funds? Basically, what happened in HR1 last year was in many ways Congress set a floor, and then they punted this question to states. And they said, state governors, you are tasked with developing your state system for how you will take data from accredited institutions and identify which of them meet several criteria. Those criteria are around connection to high demand industries for that program, completion rates of the program, the job placement rate of individuals who have completed the program, and ultimately, what benefit did that individual see to their earnings relative to the cost of the program? So you can already hear, as I'm describing it, several really important data elements that whatever agency is making a determination has to have access to in order to verify who qualifies for this program. Now, of course, we in California are still doing some hard work and trying to integrate our data systems through Cradle to Career and other efforts. And other states are responding to this as well. But the Student Aid Commission already plays a role in determining which post-secondary institutions in California qualify for state aid participation. The Student Aid Commission receives data from hundreds of institutions and manages millions of student records, and of course has expertise in developing program participation agreements, monitoring compliance with those participation agreements, auditing institutions to ensure that they are transparent in how they're conveying what the results of their programs have been and their adherence to those program participation requirements, and looking at data when there's deficiency in what you're receiving from institutions. And the Student Aid Commission is also uniquely situated in that it's receiving almost real-time data from several of our statewide educational partners, data from California Department of Education, the community college system, from your IHEs, the FAFSA data that would really uniquely situate the Student Aid Commission to reach out to prospective learners who stand to benefit from workforce Pell Grants and to continue that work that I know is still hard underway of trying to increase not only California DREAM Act, but FAFSA completion rates so that students can access these kind of opportunities. CSAC can do that in a targeted way that's really unique to what other state agencies might be able to do. So in many ways, it makes sense that Student Aid Commission would be charged with implementing a program of this kind. But as you're also hearing, while there is precedent and experience for this work at the Student Aid Commission, this is a new body of work. And it is a significant responsibility. And it's one that is ongoing. This is not a one-time short-term program that we're budgeting from year over year. This is an opportunity to bring in federal resources to help our learners. So I would suggest that the state ought to look at supporting CSAC as it relates to staffing and really leaning into this program as an opportunity to use an investment of state dollars to bring in more federal funds. We talk all the time about how California is a donor state. We send more of our tax payments to Washington, D.C. than we bring back for Californians. This is one of those opportunities where we can really try to shift that calculus and bring in more of this federal support to help learners access these qualified short-term programs. Because the reality is that the about $660,000 in one-time funding, even if you try to split that over several years, one, not only is it inadequately time-bound, it's also likely not an adequate amount for those startup costs. Adapting existing IT systems to allow for staff at the commission, but also institutions to monitor and to use those platforms for data submission. You know, that's work on the front end, but there's also then continued work in monitoring program compliance, taking in applications year over year for participation. We certainly have heard from institutional partners that they anticipate more programs being eligible in year 2 and year 3 and beyond as they shift their program structure to align with these new requirements. One-time funding upfront like this does not really allow for that increasing growth in the volume of the program and in the workload for the Student Aid Commission, nor would it really allow for the Student Aid Commission to utilize that rich set of data to proactively reach students and to do some marketing and outreach around this opportunity for learners so that we can encourage them to apply if they've not. Finally, there are a couple really important structural issues with the trailer bill that I would identify. Federal law is going to require that every state consistently considers all types of institutions who are accredited and administer these kind of programs. Right now, the trailer bill limits eligibility only to public institutions. That will need to be something that is addressed in the next few weeks. Relatedly, the trailer bill outlines the Student Aid Commission's role as the authorizing entity, but it charges the Cradle to Career Office with managing the data collection here. Um, our thinking really has been that you ought to use Cradle to Career whenever possible, reduce the reporting burden on our public institutions that may already have some of that data at Cradle to Career. But we also know there's going to be instances where Cradle to Career does not have some of the necessary data elements that the Student Aid Commission would need in order to make eligibility determinations, and certainly wouldn't have anything for private institutions. So in addition to the resource question that I just noted, I would also identify these two areas as really important for the Student Aid Commission to work through with the legislature, governor, and administration, and its segmental partners. And certainly to Dr. Curry's earlier point, aligning Cal Grant C and thinking about how you strategically leverage that with Workforce Pell is another opportunity for us to not only make these programs more affordable and address our non-tuition costs for students, but also to use that as a carrot to help bring our students to the programs that we think have the best outcomes for them, and bring in more of that federal funds by strategically connecting it to those state resources. So with that, I'll leave it there. Look forward to any of your questions. Great to see you all again. Thanks.
Thank you, Jake, and thank you to the members of our panel for joining us today. We appreciate your continued advocacy for the students in our state, and we look forward to continuing to partner with you to promote college affordability pathways for California. And with that, I'm happy to turn it back over to Dr. Gonzalez for the next slide.
Commissioners, I'm hoping we can have more of a discussion and end with this last slide. So if we go to the last slide, what's next? We still have time, meaning the next 2 weeks are going to be really critical for California students, for the team, and all of our partners. We will continue to push advocacy, strong advocacy for particularly our IT needs. As you have heard me say in several meetings, a backup server is not optional for us. It is an emergency waiting to happen. And what we are seeing statewide with Canvas and nationally is not something that I wish on anyone. And so for our institutional leaders who are going through that, stay strong. But it is an emergency waiting to happen for CSAC. We also are really grateful to all our partners who are advocating for the Golden State Teacher Grant Program. We'll continue to work in partnership with all of those allies who have been with us from the very beginning. We've been talking about GSTG for more than a year. We will also continue to provide expert implementation support to the administration as we think about Workforce Pell. And in particularly to Dr. Curry's point, Workforce Pell at best will be a $1,069 grant for a student who's enrolled in an 8-week course. I'm looking at Commissioner Cardosa. $1,069 does not help you enroll many more students. But in comparison, Cal Grant C can add on an additional nearly $1,500 for that same student. Now that changes things. That lowers cost of attendance. That helps us actually support an adult learner, and maybe they don't have to take on additional hours or think and make choices between their education, supporting their family, or keeping a part-time job. Those are really important things in the next 2 weeks, as well as you heard us talk about our CalSort partners and the requests there. Of course, there's always many other partnerships that we can launch, but we have 2 weeks to get this done. These are the primary areas. It doesn't mean that we have abandoned all of the other ones, but there will be a lot of different conversations, a lot of different negotiations. And as we head there, I'll ask the team to take off the slides. We have 2 weeks, really important areas of advocacy. And for me, it's important that you see that when we wake up every day, we're not asking for executive salaries or big block grants where we need flexible money. We are literally asking for resources to make sure that an entire system doesn't get shut down for 2.2 million students, and that we can look people in the eyes when we're out there saying, apply for financial aid, and not sell them a dream that doesn't exist. And I know that you know this, but if you are at an institution or a segment office, my team and I would be very excited to speak with you, particularly about Workforce Pell, particularly as we think about our cybersecurity request and our backup server. We did upload all of our BCPs. All of the things that we have discussed here are now a part of our agenda. They are public items, and anyone can go and download any of our BCPs that were submitted and that we will be advocating for. because we have these incredible panelists here, I'm also hopeful that you have questions for them and that you want to have a conversation and better direct me and the staff. Because when you are courageous, we can be twice as courageous for our students, and particularly in the next 2 weeks. So with that, Chair Cifuentes, I'll hand it back to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Gonzalez. I want to open up to our commissioners for questions for Dr. Gonzalez, for any of our panel members, and thank you so much for being here in your own day-to-day busy schedules. It's so good to see you, Jake, as well. So thank you so much for everyone taking the time. Questions for Dr. Gonzalez or anyone on our panel, commissioners? Oh, please, Commissioner Dow.
Thank you. Thank you all, Alex, Jake, and team and Dr. Curry for the presentation. I have a question about Workforce Pell. What exactly, in terms of amount, positions, are we asking for in our BCP?
I'm happy to take that one. So the California Student Aid Commission was asking for a total of 4 positions as part of the BCP, which amount to nearly $500,000 in ongoing funds. Essentially, those positions were 1 analyst that was going to be administering the program, 1 auditor, which would be responsible for ensuring federal compliance with the program, and then 2 IT positions, one of which we were asking for as a part-time position for initial implementation, and then the other position on an ongoing basis to sustain the technology.
In the budget, and so we're still advocating for that. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct, Commissioner Dow. The other part of our BCP, which is attached to today's agenda, also allowed CSAC to work with all of our partners to really do the statewide support. As you can imagine, now we're going to be asking adult learners to complete financial aid applications. They're going to go to our CalSOAPs. They're going to have questions. There will be increased need for our call center team. So a flexible funding source over the next 2 years for us to do the proactive outreach. As Jake shared, we're sitting on a lot of data. And so being able to say these are programs that are approved, that have successfully made it from state to U.S. Department of Ed validation. We know that you are interested in CTE because we see that as your K through 12 flag from our K through 12 data. We also see that information when students are applying, particularly to community colleges or are receiving Cal Grant C. And so being able to triangulate what students are looking for to the programs that exist and are validated is something that we can do.
Thank you.
Questions from other commissioners?
I don't have a question, but I have, just more of a comment, and it's really a thank you to the staff at CSAC, to, Director Gonzalez. A lot goes into not only advocating for our budget priorities, a lot goes into the preparation and the discussions with the Department of Finance and the legislature. They're always ongoing. May revision will not be the final budget. But I have no doubt there were many late nights, many weekends, many interrupted, probably vacations. So just a very big thank you to all that have assisted in the efforts to resource this agency, to support our students, to enable our students to get Workforce Pell. Just again, a very big thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Commissioner Ferguson. And I know just this weekend alone, they were working all weekend, as you said. So thank you so much. I echo that. Other questions from commissioners, please, Commissioner Valvoline. Oh, you're still on mute, Commissioner. There you go.
Okay. I didn't have a question, but I just wanted to compliment and thank Dr. Gonzalez and the CSAC team for the incredible work that is being accomplished across the state. As we listed the first 6 or 7 items, and they listed universities and colleges that were part of it, I didn't hear any from San Diego till we got to CalSOAP. And then CalSOAP included San Diego and the Imperial Valley. So it was really, really good to see all that. And thank you.
Thank you so much. I want to just echo first just to thank you, President Curry, Alex Graves, of course, Jake Bremner for being here. And we rely on you all so much just to be that voice. And I want to echo what Dr. Gonzalez was saying. We submit the most financial aid applications in the nation. California does, right? We lead the nation. And when you think of, Texas is another large state, they're barely, they're at about 260,000 applications. We're well over 320,000 applications, right? Florida is sitting at 100,000 applications. New York, 125,000. So we submit more applications than at least 5 or 6 states put together. And I think when Dr. Gonzalez is sharing and outlining a team, our needs to just keep that secure, keep our program going. We're not asking for bonuses for commissioners or, black cars when we arrive in Sacramento. We're asking for the systems to keep our data secure and our students and programs running. And there's so many students are depending on that, right? They're depending on that financial aid and that timely financial aid, and for things to just work so they can focus on school and education and their schedule and not worry if the check's going to be there. And so however we can help you, Dr. Gonzalez, and I think that's my question to you and the team. And thank you so much, Dora, for being here as our CIO. If you want to share anything of what do you need from us to help amplify that? I know President Curry can give firsthand knowledge of what can happen if his system's down or things are down and he can't draw on for his students. And I was just in Compton last week, and President Curry, you have a lot of students coming from Compton Unified ready to go to college. I mean, they are jumping by double digits numbers compared to 10 years ago. What you and Superintendent Brawley are doing together is phenomenal and award-winning. So if there's not an award yet in California, I'm going to give you one here right now. It's award-winning what you're doing as a true K-16. So I just want to hear from the team. What do we do here? Give us all a job. How do we help you?
Love that. We love putting people to work. One is, of course, I highlighted the areas where the team and I are going to stay focused, but we are going to put out our joint letter. So if you are at an institution or a segment and you have authority or can connect us with someone in GR that we can speak to, the more support that we have for our BCP, for our backup server, the more support that we have I'm very hopeful about Workforce Pell, but just aligning so that we could actually implement and be successful, period. The time for ongoing conversations and pivoting, particularly as the federal government still releases regulations, gives us a runway. But we need to be set up for success because this agency has already had several failed programs because of lack of funding. And I know that you know them. You lost 2 of them right before I got here. And one of them was for adult learners. We cannot have a repeat of that program. We also know that there are many other partners. So if you have something on there that is a top priority and benefits students, we absolutely want to hear about it. And then lastly, Cal Grant C. This year, we were able to maximize the program, but the landscape is shifting so fast. It's why we share the BCP with you. The vision that Dr. Curry has and the research that we've done on that program, Dr. Moldoff and team did a full cycle review, and we were able to look at 10 decades of data and what was happening with that program. And it is clearly showing us that higher ed is innovating so quickly, the program is not keeping up. And more importantly, it needs to pivot. And yes, it's both structural, but yes, it's going to require a modest investment. And I see Dr. Curry's hand is up. So if you want to sign on to our letter, we will send it to you. If you have key contact, we need all the help that we can get. And certainly for our students who are listening in, I see Unite LA, Commissioner Saravia, elevating the student voice and their impact. Dr. Curry, anything you'd like to add?
Yeah, I just want to add the one thing, and this is something that we've been working on at Compton and we're rolling out as we increase the number of sections. But with the modernization of Cal Grant C, was really important for me is the ability regards to the program length and the 8 weeks. And we're really pushing now. Students don't want to be in a program for 16 weeks, right? And we got to be able to have stackable credentials, stackable programs to move students towards completion. And with the Cal Grant C modernization and colleges moving towards stackable credentials and degrees, students can take more classes and be done faster, right? And they have the aid to support them. We're looking at 8-week classes, increasing those more, but also 7-week classes, right? So as Dr. Gonzalez says, the innovation and changes, we're talking about 8 weeks for modernization of Cal Grant C, but I'm already talking about 7 weeks now at Compton College, because that gives the faculty a week to do grades and then a break and then start another 7-week session. So as we think about innovation and the work that we're doing, innovation right now is happening at the local level. And in order for the state to catch up, the state's policies have to be in line with what colleges are doing to support their adult learners. And we know that there's going to be more adult learners displaced because of AI, right? Because of different industries leaving the state of California. How do we support these adult learners to get their degree or certificate in a timely manner? But 7-week stackable is important to be able to match that with the aid.
Thank you so much, Dr. Curry. And I just want to add, I just love how you can speak in the weeds, even though you're the president, but you're in the weeds, and I love it. I just admire you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, any other questions from our commissioners before we open up for public comment? Okay, seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and open up for public comment.
Thank you, Chair. Public comment for item 10 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Education, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco. Now all virtual attendees. We have 2 public comments from virtual attendees. We'll begin with McKenna Mustaza. You will have 2 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Commissioners. McKenna Mustaza with NextGen California. We support the inclusion of a streamlined workforce Pell implementation administered by the Commission that's leveraging existing funding infrastructure in the governor's just released May revise. We amplify efforts by state agencies to find pathways to maximize program eligibility, to capture more quality programs, and then be able to draw down more of that year 1 federal funding by proven models such as apprenticeships. We strongly encourage aligning state financial aid, especially Cal Grant C, as we can leverage more Californians, particularly older and returning learners and stranded workers. We look forward to working with CSAC, the governor, and the legislature as this item continues to move through the budget process. Thank you.
Thank you, McKenna. We will now move over to Sarah Buabisa. You will now have 2 minutes.
Good afternoon, Commission members. Sara Buabipsa here with the Institute for College Access and Success, or TICAS. Apologies, my camera isn't working at the moment, but really appreciate the opportunity to give public comment. We appreciate the details laid out in proposals under Agenda Item 10. Regarding the Workforce Pell proposal, we look forward to working with CSAC and others to implement the program in a way that maximizes the opportunity for Californians, while also establishing robust guardrails to guarantee that students are directed towards high-quality, affordable programs to promote economic mobility and stackability. Based on the trailer bill language that came out today, we have a key federal rules interpretation flag that we would like to discuss with your team, and we'll be reaching out shortly to discuss it. Regarding the Cal Grant C proposal, we'd like to thank you for the intentional work to provide some details on what this can look like. While we're not ready to take a position just yet, we welcome the opportunity to get to dig into this proposal's details and better understand how it will work based on past questions we've had. We appreciate your time, and we look forward to working with the CSAC team, the governor, and the legislature as these items move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah. That now concludes public comment. I will turn it back to the chair.
Thank you so much, Sarah and McKenna, for being here for our entire meeting and for sharing your support and your partnership. We are so grateful, and we'll, like Executive Directors just shared, we'll continue to work together. This was our informational item, so we obviously do not have a vote, but I want to just give an opportunity to Dr. Gonzalez to share any final words or thoughts before we move on to our next item.
No, just gratitude to President Curry, Alex, and Jake for joining us today. And Jake, as you're finishing up schooling, just grateful that we got to work with you in the last few months, particularly on Workforce Pell and your support reimagining Cal Grant C. So thank you and congratulations. And commissioners, we'll see you all at Cal State LA. As it relates to this item, we'll keep you updated. Certainly we'll have a closer look at what this is going to look like more in June, because what I've learned in state budget policy is it's not done until it's done. And I look forward to keeping you updated.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez and the team, and we'll be keeping up, looking out for the updates. We'll go ahead and move on to item number 11. Any comments on items not on the agenda? At this time, we'll go ahead and see if there's any public comment on items that were not on the agenda.
Thank you. We will now begin with public comment. Public comment for item number 11 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, then move to our other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Ed, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and all virtual attendees. Please unmute yourself. At this time, we have 0 public comment. I will turn it back to the chair.
Thank you so much. We'll move on to the next item. Item number 12, any new business to be considered at future commission meetings. Commissioners, do we have any new business? Seeing and hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to public comment for this item.
Thank you, Chair. Public comment item for number 12 is now open. For virtual attendees, please use the raise hand feature. We will start with in-person comments at the 1102 Q Street, Sacramento location, and then move to our other locations and conclude with virtual comments. You will have 2 minutes. With that, we have 0 public comments in downtown Sacramento. Moving on to American River College, California State University, Los Angeles, California State University, Northridge, California State University, Sacramento, Compton College, Eugene Brucker Educational Center, Glen Verde Court, Riverside County Office of Ed, San Bernardino Community College, University of California, Riverside, University of San Francisco, and now all virtual attendees. Please unmute yourself. At this time, we have 0 public comments. I will turn it back to the chair. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, commissioners, we're moving to our item number 13 to adjourn. I want to thank you for your time. I know you're probably hungry, getting ready to go eat, so I don't want to keep you much longer, but I do want to give this opportunity for all of us to give a huge round of applause, celebration to Commissioner Saravia, who she's about to be a college graduate. And so we're so excited for her. And I don't know if you're your commencement speaker, but here you are, our commencement speaker. So tell us, give us some love. How are you feeling?
Thank you so much for everything. I am honestly really excited. I graduate in 3 days. I will be sitting up in the platform with all of our campus administration, and I was able to put my stole together, and it actually has CSAC commissioner on it. So I will be repping this agency while I'm up there on the platform. I'm so grateful for everything that this commission has done, not only for me, but for my peers, for my sisters. If it hadn't been for the tireless work of this organization, I wouldn't be graduating debt-free from ACSU, and my sisters also wouldn't have the opportunities that they do. I'm honestly so grateful, and my heart is so full for everything that you guys have done for the students of California, and I can only say thank you for allowing me the opportunity to also be part of this change and be part of these conversations. I'm really excited for where I head next. I do know that I will be doing my teaching credential within the next year, so I could become a middle school or high school English teacher prior to hopefully going off to law school. But I do know that my heart has always been with education, so I can't envision the next step of my career being anywhere else but the education sector and becoming an educator. So I'm very excited. And I can't say thank you enough to all of you guys. So thank you from me, from my sisters, from my family, like everything that you guys have done, all of your tireless work has paid off for a lot of students. And I'm saying thank you on behalf of all of those students as well.
All right, we are so proud of you. What a 3 days. Please send us a picture with your stole and everything to Dr. Gonzalez so we can share with all the commissioners when we're having tough days. We'll just put your picture up and we'll go, all right, we gotta keep going. We gotta keep advocating and not quit. We're so proud of you. Have fun in 3 days and please
Thank
enjoy
you.
every moment, and you've earned it. And just to double down, first in your family to have a bachelor's degree.
Yep, first in my entire family, yes. I'm honestly like it's very surreal, very surreal, and it is quite exciting. I know that again, I wouldn't have been able to do it without everything that the state of California and this commission has done for students like me. So it definitely feels very surreal to have that day come. Very, very soon.
And we're loving the debt free too. So it's possible.
Yeah.
It's possible. So, commissioners, thank you so much. I'd love to end on that high note to celebrate our student commissioner and just thank you for your commitment. And I'm sure Dr. Gonzalez will be communicating with you and asking you for participation in different conversations or visits. I told her if she needs us to go to Sacramento, let us know. We'll fly in and be there. But just thank you for your continued commitment. I know being on the commission is another role you play, very, very big, important jobs in your day jobs, but just thank you for your continued partnership. And of course, the CSAC team, echoing what Commissioner Ferguson said earlier, just thank you for all the hard work. And you see a smiling face right now, and that's why we do what we do. That's why we work so hard for students, just like our student commissioner. So with that, I will ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting. Commissioner Valdez, thank you. And with that, I go ahead. I think I do need a second to adjourn our meeting.
I'll second, Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner Doppelmayr. I appreciate it. And thank you, team. We will adjourn our meeting at 1:24 p.m. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you at Cal State LA.
Thank you.
Commissioner Day, we expect a good time. Commissioner Day, we expect a good time. So get ready for us. All right, everyone. Have a great day.